Hello, everyone. Good evening.
If you can hear me, please.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, please, can you kindly use an emoji so that I know that you guys can hear me clearly? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so the host is not here. They were supposed to handle the site from DreamHacks. So I'm going to be introducing myself because a couple persons will be wondering why I'm joining in from the DreamHacks angle. So I'm one of the house boys at DreamHacks. I help with day-to-day activities and just yeah, anything that relates to making people's dreams come true, and that is what we're actually about. Today, I would be joining in from this part of the world. I can't join in from the other end. I would have loved to have my account up there so that people would also know that I'm on the space. Uh, I have a document that has been given to me, so I'm going to stick to this document. But yeah, before we proceed, I'd like you guys to go to the comment section and just introduce yourself. All right, I would like to meet you, and I'll be, since I'm logged in on the DreamHacks account at the moment, I'm going to be retweeting all of that, and we're hoping to get to know you guys. But this is not a space to uh, create an advert for DreamHacks, so let's get straight into why we're here today. So the topic is rejections and wins. Come share it's basically sharing your story. And we know we're in the 11th month. And one of our admins, BAMS, to be precise, said, this is the 11th hour. That's what she said. And that we needed to hold this space to let people know that miracles still exist. And I truly believe in it. I mean, there's a lot of things that have happened recently in my design journey, and I am beginning to believe more in the 11th hour miracle, and it does exist. So this is why we've put together this space, and a few of us will be sharing our stories. Everybody loves to share the happy endings and they both lived happily ever after. But most people don't see the rejections. Most people don't see the pain behind all of those wins that people share, because obviously people won't share their rejections. Only a few people share it on the internet, but many people would not share this, and they won't share it because they won't want you to start feeling pity for them or someone dragging them that they are sharing rejections, and these things do happen. So, but today, a few of us would be sharing our rejections, and then would wrap it up with the wins. And it's good to wrap it up with that so that you get to understand that there's more to come in your design journey. I'm sorry I did not prepare this speech, so I was only hoping to join in and just answer the questions. So I'm trying to create um, this introduction. And with that, I would get into the first instance. But before I do that, I like to say, because this space is not just for the DreamHacks community members, it's not just for the admins as well. If you look at the poster that was designed, you would see that it also said listeners. So if you're listening from any part of the world and you would love to share your rejections, we will be starting with rejections and then we'll end up with wins. So if you'd love to share your story and light with rejections that you've gotten searching for job, this is majorly based or heavily based on jobs. So jobs, rejections, we didn't want to add the job so that it doesn't feel somehow, so people don't take it the other way. But if you love to share that, please request for the mic and I would definitely bring you up so you can share this with everyone. And you never can tell who your story would inspire. And stories do inspire a lot of people. So as we're doing that, I'd like to take the first question. And if anyone here can actually answer these questions. You can actually answer these questions. You can also request for the mic and come up to speak. Right. The first question I have here is um, so I would only answer the ones that are applicable to me, and then I would ask people to answer the rest of it. So the first one I'd love to answer, we have about 15 questions. The first one is number three, and number three is um, can you tell us about a memorable job win? I would not start with that one. I would start with another one, maybe number six. What role has networking played in both your job rejections and wins? Can you share a networking success story? So I'm someone that networks with a lot of people. I have a lot of people I've networked with over the course of my journey, and I'm just going to be more precise with what I would say today. Some of the key people I love to network with are developers and writers. These are the key people I network with. I'm going to tell you, I network with other people, UI designers, brand designers, but I started my journey as a brand designer. I did a lot of logos. I still do that to date, but I do that as a freelancer. And yeah, I slowly transitioned into UI design. I actually transitioned into UI design last year. That was January 2022. It's been a long journey, and a lot of people would feel like I've been in it for a very long time. So far in my journey, I've I got into design 2020 during the lockdown, and the experience has been really massive for me. I I can remember one very key person I've networked with over the years. His name is Onyinye. Onyinye is a very good friend of mine. In fact, we have a group. We are four in the group. Onyinye, Mhersh, King Judah, and myself. These guys are people of different niches. King Judah is a brand designer. Mhersh is a motion designer. Onye is a developer, front end developer. And I've given him a lot of jobs, and they've also brought jobs to me. And this is one thing networking does. So, to answer this question, I'm going to tell you that if you want to go, most times people get to a very far point in their journey because of people they've networked with and not because of their skill. Now, there are a lot of talented people in Nigeria. I'm not even as talented as them, I'll be honest with you. But I've achieved a lot, frankly, by God's grace and by people I've actually connected with over the course of my journey. And it's not just connecting with people. I'd like to just answer this question and just be straightforward, but I'd like to give you more context to this. It's not just connecting with someone because you want the person to kind of recommend you for jobs or to put a word out for you. But you need to understand that I know the word is about give and take. You need to understand that when connecting with someone, you need to create value for yourself personally. And I joined a conference. I think that was a few days back, and people wanted to connect with me after the conference. It was a virtual conference. I didn't know the organizers sent my contacts to these people. I had over 20 persons reach out to me on WhatsApp that they wanted to connect with me, but there was a pattern in the way they wanted to connect with me. They had a template. It was more like the organization created a template for them to use as a reference to reach out to me, and all of them just kept pasting the same content. And trust me, I did not connect with any of them. I did not save any of their numbers. One of them reached out to me, and her content was completely different. Now, the way she sent the message, I wish I could read it out, but she probably would be here, and I think that would be disrespectful. The way she crafted the message just told I had to tell her that you understand connection, you understand the ropes in connecting with someone, because she was able to tell me certain things I said during the conference. She was able to even make reference to me saying, "Oh, the place I'm at now, I'm currently looking for a restaurant." She paid attention to the details, and she was able to utilize those informations to pass a message while trying to connect with me. And instantly I saved her contact, not because it's a female. If a guy does the same thing, I would do that. I have a lot of guys as in my contacts than even females. So you need to understand what value you want to give to the person. You need to understand why you're trying to connect with the person. She made references to why she wanted to connect with me. And she also introduced herself, introduced what she does. And with that kind of thing, if I had an opportunity, I might not even look for people that I've already connected with long ago. But because of the way she was able to craft that, I would probably feel like, oh, this last person I connected with might need this opportunity, and I would send it to them. All right. I'm not saying people should connect with me because you get because I've seen people sending me messages and you feel like, oh, sending me messages would put you in the loop. I'll just pin your contacts, and anytime I get an opportunity, I'll just send it to you. Know, there are people I see on the internet. I can mention a few of their names, but I wouldn't want to do that. They have they've created value for themselves, so they don't need to be even connected with me directly. Once I see opportunities, I just send them a DM on Twitter and just let them know I've recommended them for something. So that is one way you can connect with someone. Be precise about why you want to connect with them. Don't connect with them because you feel like, oh, connecting with this person, the person is going to give me a job. So don't be like, oh, let me connect with this person to get a job. It can be the end goal, it can be in the end result, but you need to take it a step at a time. Don't just reach out to someone today, tomorrow you're reaching back to the person and telling the person, oh, I'm looking for a job, please help me. No, things are not done that way. Give it some time. All right. Try to keep in contact with the person. If the person shares a post, react to the post. Just be seen. There are people I see in my comments in whenever I make a post. I see them. And sometimes I just try to like take a stroll through their profile, like a few things. I see those people. So that's one way you can stay close to someone. The person would always people have millions of followers, but they know few persons that have been there for them. So whenever they get certain things, even giveaways, you just be shocked that they gave it to a particular person. It's not because that person did that particular tax, or everybody did the tax. That person did the tax as well. But because that person has a better edge in the support that that person has given to that person. So some people will feel like, oh, this person is being biased. But if you ask me, the person is not being biased, because there's the people that show you the more support that you would give the most to. So to answer that, I think that would be it has played a major role in my journey as a designer. I've gotten a lot of recommendations, especially with freelance gigs. My guys have recommended me, even people I don't know. Most people that I don't know have also recommended me. Till date, I don't know their name. Someone will just tell me, hey, someone recommended you. I see a lot of DMs on my Behance, and I'm sure people are sending my Behance link to people. So I want to use the opportunity to say thank you very much if you have ever done that, and I really do appreciate it. So be open. Now, in um, let me add something before I move to the next question. In connecting with someone, when you've connected with people, um, I think I've missed it, so I'll just leave it. If I remember, I'll come back to it. Let me take the next question. I think that's number 8. Number 8 is, what are some common mistakes people make during job interviews that may lead to rejections? Any tips for avoiding these pitfalls? Now, I would like to say everything I'm saying on this space is based on my own experience. So I don't want anybody to take it the other way. Don't feel like, oh, if what Davio is saying now, if I have to follow it this way, if not, it won't work for me. No, what works for Mr. A might not work for Mr. B. And what hasn't worked for Mr. A might work for Mr. B. So I needed to put this out, and I thank God I'm recording this space so that someone will not drag me tomorrow and say, hey, he came online and he said something. There was a time I made references to portfolios and I saw someone quoted my tweet and was like, he said really nasty stuff. So I just overlooked it. I didn't reply him, but I just want to state this. It's within my own experience. All right. So if it's beyond your own experience, you've gone through different routes and it worked for you. Yes, so many things work. Even the tiniest of things work. And I do believe in God's grace. So please, I needed to put this out. So number 8 again is what are some common mistakes people make during job interviews? And I've been opportune to interview some people for some companies, both local and global companies. And I won't say global companies, international companies, companies outside of Nigeria, so that someone will not feel like I said Google or Microsoft. I'm being very careful with the words I say. All right. So, why talking to some of these people, I would say some of the mistakes they make is not having enough references or proof in their CV. Why answering a question. Now, I interviewed someone that had worked at First Bank and Sterling Bank. This is not an advert for them. And this guy was unable to provide some valid information or data to prove that he has worked there. Someone with such CV, there are certain things you're going to say. You don't necessarily have to go into much details. But when answering certain questions, you have to give a lot of context to the answers you give. You're not just going to be giving shallow answers. Don't say, "Oh, I worked there and I did my job very well." No, you need to go more detailed. I don't know how detailed I can give you guys as a reference or example, but just sit down and ensure that whatever you put in your CV is well thought out. If you put in your CV that you have a skill of, let's say, your problem solving, you have problem solving skills, be able to back it up. How have you been able to use your problem solving skill to solve a problem? Because you can't say you you have problem solving skill when you haven't solved the problem. All right. Many people just go and grab certain things and put it to just make the CV look very big. But in the real sense, whatever you're putting in there, you should be able to discuss it in details. So I feel that's some of the issues people do. Don't see someone's CV on the internet and just copy things from there. Most of us don't do that consciously. We don't say, oh, we want to copy this. We feel like that is a guide, so we should just follow it the way we see it. But you need to understand that when you get to that hot seat, it's a hot seat because even you don't have the job before you came there, but you don't want to leave without getting that job. So it's a very hot seat. So you're always calculating everything you say. And most times you just say things out of point. So ensure that whatever you put in your CV, you're able to you're able to explain in details. All right. Another mistake I feel people make is when discussing about um sorry, I didn't prepare this thing, so I was just giving this data like a few minutes ago. Um that mistake would be people that when you're asked to like describe your design process, if you're asked to describe it, they're not saying you should list it out. Like one girl I interviewed, she did this so well. In fact, she took a lot of time. We allowed her to just continue explaining. We didn't cut her until she was done. I think she took almost 10 to 15 minutes to explain her design process. And it was enjoyable. It was as if she was taking us on a journey. And that taught me something. I'll be honest with you. I've learned a lot of things from people indirectly. So that taught me how to even describe my own design process. I shouldn't just say my design process is the first thing. Let's say, as a brand designer, I would get the brief, I would find mood boards, I would sketch, I would make more research, I would design, I would create mood boards, mock-ups, present it, and then I would share to the owner. No, you're not speaking with passion. That's what I'll say. You're not speaking with, like, you love this thing, you love to do this. When you love something, you tend to exaggerate most times. If you love someone, when people ask you, why do you like this person, you tend to exaggerate things. Oh, the person is so beautiful. Have you seen her face in the morning? She looks like the morning star. The star show in the morning. So you tend to exaggerate things, and that's how you should do when you're talking about your own design process. Your design process should be something enjoyable, something you enjoy doing. When you get a new gig, oh man, I go on a marathon of research. I would ask these people, I would run surveys, trying to get out the right data that would I would analyze afterwards to use for this thing. And when I get this, I still go back to more research. People will be shocked, will be like, we need this guy on our team. All right. I'm not saying if you do that, you just get into the team. There are some questions, critical questions they may ask that you may not be able to answer, and that would be a sell off. But these are just a few of them. I think there are people on the space that would share more about their own some mistakes that they've made personally. I mean, one of the mistakes I would say I've made personally is not doing so much research about the company. I think that's one of the jobs I lost that was really painful, because I got to a point where it was not even asked at the beginning, it was asked towards the end. What do we really do? And I was unable to answer that question. I was like, I did not check. And I didn't know these people had a product on the stores, Apple Store, Play Store, that I could easily just download and go through, or visit their website and learn from their company page. The company page carries the about us, the who we are, the values, all of those informations, even showcases the team. I could even say, oh, I saw that you guys won an award XYZ, and that would show it. There are certain points you say when giving an explanation to someone, and the person, just like the girl that reached out to me that she wanted to connect with me, making reference to the restaurant I was looking for, was a very critical point that I never thought anybody would even remember, but she remembered it. So there are certain things you might say that would make them become curious. They might have even forgotten about it. But because you made reference to it, they feel like, oh, this person pays attention to details. And that could be the selling point. All right. So that's what I'm going to say. Later on, if I remember anyone, I would still talk about it. I'm going to talk about my recent journey. That was the first question, but I'll talk about it at the end. Number 11 is, can you discuss the importance of personal branding and how it can influence job rejections and wins? I've been in an interview, and the recruiter made references to my Twitter account. Um, Apparently, I was on the call and I didn't know they were going through my Twitter account. Maybe they went through LinkedIn, they went through my Twitter. They were just, and she made reference to a tweet that I made, a particular tweet I made. And I was shocked. So imagine that I've been posting nasty things on my Twitter account. Maybe that would have been the closing remark from them. They would have been like, oh, thank you very much. Some people, they don't even get to the end of the questions they were supposed to ask them in an interview. And I think these things happen a lot. They don't get to the end because they just find one loophole and they just say, oh, thank you very much. We'll get back to you. And you're like, I want to ask a question. They say, no need, don't worry. We've seen everything. Would get back to you. Once you get this kind of notion, just know that nobody's getting back to you. Rejection straight into your email. If they'll even be kind to send you a rejection. If someone sends you a rejection, know that they are very kind. They are being kind to you. All right. Rejections is like giving you a response, a feedback from your interview. And many people don't get this. So the person went through my Twitter account and made references, very good feedbacks. And that was really a good sign that I was doing something good. Now, when it comes to personal branding, people tend to feel like I know a lot of people hear about LinkedIn optimization, the Twitter optimization. These things are, for me, in my own opinion, is basically you just filling your profiles or your accounts with adequate information and with the right data. Now, when it comes to Twitter, having a clear name is very important. Having a clear name. So if you're the kind of person, I've seen someone, if I had to reach out to him, I don't want to call the name again so that maybe he might be here and he will start feeling bad. But he had a very, very nasty name. And I'm someone that don't know how to mind my business back then. Now I mind my business a lot. Then I would just reach out to you and just I reached out to a girl sometime last day. The insult I received in the DM, I just left and I came to advice. So I reached out to the guy and I told him he didn't really like it at first. But after a while, he came back to me and told me that he's thankful for what the advice I gave to him. He had changed the name. His name was there, but the name at the top, the one you can put anything, the one that has your designer on my own account, had a very nasty name. So most times when you tweet, people don't see your name. That's the actual username. People don't see it. What they see is that one that Twitter put as your name. And it really matters. But most people feel like it doesn't matter. We can just put anything there. The handsome designer, the God-fearing designer. People just put anything that's good for them, that resonates with their kind of people. Yeah, the big buttocks designer. You put very nasty things. It's very good. I think it's working for those people. But you need to understand that when it comes to personal branding, I like to see personal branding as UBA. I talk about UBA a lot. I don't even bank with them. UBA has an account on on socials that bears the name UBA. Tony, on the other side, has an account that bears his name and it has its own content. Now, when addressing certain designers and kind of giving them little advice, I like to see Davio White as UBA. That's how I see my brand. And I like to see my WhatsApp account as Tony. Whatever I would post on WhatsApp, you won't see, not whatever. There are certain things I post there that I post here, but there are most things I post on my WhatsApp status that I will not share on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, or on Facebook. I use all of these platforms, or even on TikTok. Even though they are videos, I can't share them there because when it comes to personal branding, you have to understand that professionalism is one of the key things in business. If you don't have the business IQ, I don't have it. I don't feel like I'm talking like, oh, Dave, you understand business. No, I don't, please. I just know a little, maybe 1%. But if you don't have that business IQ, you tend to even take people's advice that, like what I'm saying now is like an advice. You tend to see it as this guy they do overdo. They do as even too sabi. You know, you would see it that way. And I'm sure there are maybe one or two persons feeling that way. But it's not to do all of those, it's just to guide you in the right direction. So when you're handling your personal brand, see it as a baby you're nurturing. Right? See it as UBA. Tomorrow, when you come online, just feel like, oh, I'm UBA. So, what would UBA not do? Or what would a professional brand not do on their account? There are certain things. I'll give you an example. They are not going to do all these football bans. They won't do politics. There are certain organizations that you cannot walk in if they find one small political post on your Twitter account. Just one small thing, you'll not get a job there because they feel like this person is going to cause trouble for us tomorrow. Not because you like trouble or you would cause trouble, but it's just part of their values. So have that value in yourself as a brand, not as a person. You can create a separate account and do your bans. I see people post certain things. Like you're even posting yourself almost naked in your house on your business account. And then tomorrow you come on that same account and you post about, I'm looking for job or hire me. No, now people would feel like you're not being serious. I'm not saying being yourself is not okay, but you need to understand what your brand and a person is. A person is different from a brand. So when it comes to a brand, you're looking for strategic ways to grow the business. You want the business to move from one level to another. You don't want the business to always stay at a stagnant position. You want to move. You always want to move. So how would you move? You have to sit down and think about these things. I think about how to get to the next level a lot. There are things I cannot say now on the space. I used to say them before, but now I can't say them anymore. But some people that have heard me say them know what I'm talking about. All right. I want to get to that point. So, how do I get to that point? Is it by posting nasty photos on the internet? Is it by following bands? So, personal branding has to do a lot. Even your profile picture is very key to personal branding. The picture that you use, if you guys have noticed, since I joined Twitter um, and have been consistent, I've used a particular picture. I've only changed the color. Now, when people see it, they always know this is Davio. It's not because I cannot change it and people will still know that it's Davio. All right. But that's just my own value. That's just who I am. All right. When it comes to my brand is this. We don't want to always keep changing our face. There's a way you change your face, people would not even recognize you again. They will see a tweet and they'll feel it's someone else. And this thing has to do with packaging. Now, when it even comes to packaging design, there are designs that you create that you already had, and then when you suddenly change it in the market, people tend not to want to buy that product again because they don't even know what product it is. Not because they don't want to buy your product anymore. They just feel like, oh, this product is not in the market again. They would go to the mall and they will see the product and walk past it because it has a new face, it has a new identity. So a lot of marketing would have to go into that identity. And that's one very key thing about personal branding. So in personal branding, keep a clear name, keep a clear photo. If you need a brand color like mine, find a brand color that resonates with you and have it. It's not necessary. Some people just use their professional pictures taken in studios and it looks really good. All right. So you can have that. Ensure to have something clear in your bio. Don't be like me. All right. I just have one thing in my bio. Be detailed about it. Use the professional account Twitter has created where you can put what you do. Like mine, I think I have product designer. All right. So you can do that and it would help you. You never can tell. These little things, they help. They help. Someone will get into your DM and they already know a little about you. All right. On LinkedIn, ensure you showcase your work experience. Work experience is very key. Showcase places you worked at. Most people on the space now will be asking, but I have not worked for anyone. How do I do this? Understand that life is a journey. There was a time I never worked for anybody. Today, I've worked for several organizations. I've worked for several people. All right. My first job, I can remember I was paid 30,000. That was my first job. I'm not saying like a freelance gig, a job. I worked there for over a year. I was paid 30,000. So I'm talking about tech. All right. I had a job before I joined tech. Then I was being paid 45,000 and then increased to 57,500 so that someone does not misquote me. All right. Listen to this point. You know, those people that like to cut a video, they'll post half and leave the other part. All right. Listen to this point. Yeah, so that's it. So this is personal branding. It's nothing serious. You don't have to pay somebody to optimize your account. You don't have to do that. The extra thing you can do on LinkedIn is to pay for the premium account. It has more benefits. Right? When you pay LinkedIn directly, they give you more benefits. I don't use those benefits. I don't have a premium account. I've never paid for one there. I just do my thing and I believe LinkedIn will allow me get some job. And it does happen. So that's what I'm going to say about that. Number 14, can you share any insights into industry specific challenges when it comes to job rejections and wins? Industry specific challenges. Yes, I feel like one of the industry challenge, I don't know if this answers it. There's no host to actually tell me if I'm wrong. So one of the challenge people have is applying to the wrong jobs. And the second one would be people applying to jobs when they are not ready. In as much as you guys don't like to hear this, it's just the truth. It's the truth. This one I'm going to tell you 100%. There was a time I was applying for jobs that were I was not ready for, or not even I haven't gotten to that point of applying for those kind of jobs, but I kept applying because everybody wants to get that international payment. If someone sends you $1,000 now, it's about I know dollar has dropped, so maybe like 900 and something thousand. I know some people's heart now is shaking. They didn't know dollar has dropped, so it was 1,000 plus before. But it's still good money, even though a lot of things are expensive today. So people want to get that kind of money. So they start applying for jobs that they are not ready for. Like nobody will even look at your CV when you apply to those kind of jobs. People being not paying attention to details. You get a job. I visited a lot of jobs before. I used to be on, there's a platform, I think it starts with green something, if I'm not mistaken, or Glassdoor. I think it's either Glassdoor or green something. I visit those jobs and I don't read the responsibilities. I don't read the requirements. I'll just jump and click apply because I saw UI designer or I saw brand designer. I'll just click apply, send my CV, go on Google, look for cover letter, copy it, change some words, paste it, send. After a few days, I get rejection. Boom. I don't even get to interview. I did that a lot, a whole lot. I was doing that. I took people's advice, applied to 10 jobs daily. I was applying, applying, applying. I did not get any. I will not lie to you. I didn't get even one single one from those ones. Now, I took a redress because I watch a lot of videos and I don't read. I watch a lot of videos. I'm a video type. So when I go on YouTube, I tend to look at so many things. I just find videos. I watch a lot of Chris Do's videos. So you can watch Chris Do, um, watch his videos. He has a lot of business IQ. I watch a lot of footer videos. There are some other people that I don't really check out their names. I just click play and just watch, get value, subscribe, like, and then move to the next person. That's basically what I do. And after a while, that's when I noticed that I was applying to the wrong jobs. I wasn't ready. I haven't gotten to that point. They won't even look at my CV. So what I did was I started applying to jobs that were within my experience. I started reading more of the responsibility and the requirement for that job in order for you to get to the interview, not to even get the job, in order for you to get to interview. Because once you get to interview, trust me, that's your biggest win. Most of you don't feel like you've ever won in life, but you've gotten to over 20 interviews. Only one thing knocks you off when you get to an interview, and I may be able to remember and share to you. So I started applying to jobs that were applicable to me, and I started getting a few of them. Some of the key things I did was to enhance my skill. Now, your skill is the most valuable thing that comes in job search. Some of you just do one case study and two, and you feel like you don't have a skill. You don't have a skill. I know if I tweeted this earlier, people would drag me. But you don't have a skill yet. You need to focus and build that skill, nurture that skill, nurture it. Because, see, a valuable designer is someone that has a good skill and knows what he or she is doing. You know what you're doing. If they wake you up at so time now and ask you, what is this? You know it effortlessly. Hey, can you do this? You can close your eye, and I'm not literally, you can close your eye and do it. We would all get to that point. All right. But when you've gotten to that point that you trust your skill, some of you don't even have that confidence in your skill, but you're applying for jobs that are bigger than your skill. So you need to start with the smaller jobs that would build your confidence. Everything in life is done with confidence. Even driving. If you want to drive a car now, if you don't have that confidence, you might know how to clutch down and how to use. If you don't have that confidence, you can sit in that car and not do anything. You can get on the road and nobody's in the car with you, and you would cause a heavy traffic, a heavy accident. That's because you need confidence, not because you cannot do this thing, but you've not grown that momentum. So you need to grow it. And how you can grow this is by doing two things. One, you need to work for people that are closer to you for free, not strangers. I did not say you should go and work for people for free. People that are closer to you, and I'm talking about friends that have businesses. So, as a UI designer, I would meet a friend that has been in business for a while and pitch the idea of him or her having a website. Bro, how far? You've been in this business for 10 years. Oh, I think it's high time you have a website. Imagine what a website would do for you. Now give that friend, you're able to talk to that friend with enough confidence because you already know the person. There are people that if they sit with another person now, they can't speak to the people. They are shy. But when they are with their people, their homies, you'll be shocked that this person talks like a whale. Like the person is just laughing anyhow, talking anyhow. I'm not saying it's bad, all right? It's very, very good, right? But that's the kind of people. So you need to start with those people you have that bond, that chemistry with. So persuade the guy, give him examples of businesses that have had websites that it has helped them scale the business. Many people don't believe this because when they look at Opay's website, they feel like, how did Opay get to 60 million plus users? And their website is like that. But there are different methods that work for different businesses. All right. But pitch it. Guy, I believe if you do website now, how many sales do you make in a month? They're like 10, 15. Guy, if you do website now, you make 50 sales. And the guy will say, but I don't get money. Oh. Be like, calm down. I'll do this thing for you free. The only thing I want you to promise me is when I finish, you're going to pay somebody to develop it. Both of you agree. He pays. He has seen it saying, this thing final, pays for it. Website is life. Trust me, that's when your confidence will start growing gradually. It might not work in this way. All right. Most things are easier said than done. It might not work in this way, but it's going to really help you because one, you'll be proud that you have something out there. So when someone is asking you, how far? We saw that you applied for the role of a UI designer. Can you point us to one notable project you've done? You remember your guy, you could just smile. Yes, I helped my guy's business. He was making around 15 sales a month. And I reached out to him actually, and I told him I wanted to create a website for him for free. I did that for free. I wanted to solve that problem. So I used my skill, my problem solving skill, to take his business to the next level. As of today, he makes around 100 sales from the 15 he used to make every month. And in a short time from now, I see him making over 500 sales. These people will be so proud of you, not because you did something and it's working, but because you did it for free. So they'll see that passion in you to grow things. Like you have that passion in growing things. That's what people will see. So if you're thinking of how can I have a work experience, that is a work experience. You can even work with the guy for the next 1 month or two or even more just to ensure that the business grows, and then you get that metrics. When you gather that metrics is basically outcomes from what you've done for a brand. You design, most of you just design and just move to the next. You don't know that there's a design that you've done that is making wave because you don't see it, you don't follow up with it, that can change your life. Once you make reference to that particular one during your interview, you're you're just going to get a job. People would just want to hire you. That's how people get a job. A lot of people apply for the same job you apply for. How do you manage to get to number one? Three people did not just apply for the job, hundreds, thousands, and then they chose you. Then you know that you carry some value. So you need to use it well. All right. So I think that should answer that. I don't know what question was that. I think that was number 14. So that's some of the mistakes. Not paying attention to the job description, applying to the wrong job when you're not ready. You see, that guy that has helped his friend is now ready to take it to the next level. He can now apply for an entry level job and he will get it. And then from that entry level, he helps scale the business, balance the business. The business hires another designer to join with him. He can now move to another job. That would not be like a junior role. And before you know, the guy is in senior role within a short time because he has helped grow businesses. And that's what people really want. People hiring you are not hiring you to just be giving you money. At the end of month, you collect your salary, you move. No. They're hiring you because they want you to bring that your value to move the business to the next level. Every single person is valuable in a team. So, what is your role in that team? You have to understand it, and that would help you grow the business. Sorry, I was trying to bring up somebody. All right, so that's that. And then I think the last one I talked about was portfolio, not having the right portfolio. So when it comes to portfolio is a big thing. It's a big discussion. In fact, it's a discussion of its own on a day. You need a particular day to just talk about portfolio because portfolio has so many misconceptions. So many. People feel like they need to have a website before they now can say they have a portfolio. Some people feel like, oh, I need to use only Notion or I need to use only Medium. No, I'm going to tell you one of the first place you need to have your portfolio. And it's the only place I use when it comes to curating my designs and just placing. And that place is called Behance. Behance or Behance. Behance is spelled BEHANCE.net. Someone can go to the comment section and just type it there. So anybody that is interested in checking it out can check it out. I did not know Behance at the beginning of I think at some point I knew. So it was, it wasn't, it, I mean, Behance is the best place that you can. One day I'm going to talk about Behance alone, the opportunities Behance have given to me. And it's not going to be on this space. So I'm maybe probably going to write a book on it. But I'm going to talk about it. So you need to have your stuff on Behance. Now, having your stuff on Behance simply means creating case studies. Now, whether you're a brand designer or a UI designer, I'm just talking about these two fields because those are places I have an experience in. So whether you're any of them, what you create as a presentation is called a case study. Now, you need to have a different approach or meaning, understand a different meaning to what you put up there. It's not you just creating designs, putting typography, color, brand pattern, mockup. No, it's not just you doing that. You need to be very strategic about the way you lay your designs out. I don't even have, frankly, sometimes I look at my designs and I'm like, I've not really, I'm not really good. I've not gotten to that point where I always have this doubt. I'll be honest with you, to date, I still have this doubt. And I love it because it pushes me to my limits. It Every time I look at my design, I want better. I want it to be better. So it's going to help you. So anytime you want to put out your next design, whatever project you've worked for someone on, and you want to put it up on Behance, think about it like a story. Paint it like you're telling a story. Oh, this person reached out to me in 2013 or 2023, and we had a lengthy call. Make it feel like it's a story, and then walk through the process. After going through the problem the business was facing and doing this and that, asking the right questions, we're able to come to a point where we had to run a lot of research. And our research was done because we wanted our solution to be user centered. And this user centric designs would create a pathway for the business that will take it to the next level. Now, imagine that a packaging design for a brand that is existing was decided by their users. When it eventually launches into the market, because you don't just do something overnight and just launch it, you want to play secret game. No, you have to take people through the process. So by the time they launch it, people that were part of the user research, that were part of the decision making, will be so proud. Their entire user base would be happy that they took their advice, not them just assuming that they, we need a redesign. Most brands that do redesigns don't actually need it. They don't need it, but they feel like, oh, if we do this, it's going to help the business. Those are assumptions, and assumptions can be wrong. So paint it like a story. And after going through the research with the user base for XYZ company, we're able to understand that their major problem was their color. State the problem. Let people know that this was the problem. And in order to solve this, we asked their users. And by curating all the data, we're able to see that XYZ percentage of their users actually needed the color to change from red to orange because red had some vibes with fire, or it had some vibes with danger, or it didn't really portray the tone of voice of this brand. And with that, we're able to now create a mood boards of certain benchmarks that were doing well in the industry. We took it from there and we went into more research. We came back and we were able to now ideate. After ideation, we took it to the next level. We designed, went back to the users, asked some questions, asked the product owners, we did this, did that, did this. Don't just go straight. Don't think there's only agencies that can do that. Individuals can do that. It's very easy. You don't need so much funds. You don't need to break the bank to, to conduct certain research. All you need to do is when you are creating, I don't like surveys. It's just my own personal thing. I feel like surveys are just your own questions. You just create your own questions, what you want, and you ask the users. It can help, but I prefer having interviews with people. I prefer talking to people. So when I'm asking you, one answer can lead to another question that I did not even write down. And that's how I see it. So understand the approach you want to use and then use it for your own good. And then when you put all of this together in that vertical slide, you now have a wonderful case study. At the end, you can say, you can even give feedbacks from what the people thought about your entire process. There are some people, when you take them through your design process, like working for them, they are blown out. They'll be blown out. Man, I've never worked with such a person. I'm not telling you that I've gotten these kind of things. All these things I'm saying, I may not be putting them into practice, but I know them, right? So people will be shocked. They want to work with you again. In fact, they don't even have another brand that they want to give you to work on. They'll go and create a new brand. They say, oh no, that fish business I've been thinking about, I think this is the right person to do it for me. They will just give you to do it. You do it and they save it and keep waiting for the time they'll have the funds to push it into the market. So understand these things. You might not get that job of your dream, but you might get that gig of your dream that will change your life. right? There was a time I got a gig of $18,000, and I'm saying it, if you like, cry. I had that gig. That was last year. In fact, few days before I got that gig, they dragged me on the internet. While they were dragging me, someone saw my profile, reached out to me. It was an agency, and I landed that gig. I did not charge them 18,000. They were the ones that felt like, oh, this guy has his value. When I asked for their budget, I was shocked at the amount they called. And that pushed us to the point that we now ended at that particular amount. Since then, I've not had that kind of amount. I've not had that kind of amount on that particular skill, brand design. Right. So you need to be very careful about the things you put in your Behance account because it's going to really help you. All right. Because I said that amount, please don't go and charge that amount for your next project and feel like, oh, Dave, you charge this. I did not charge that amount, though. I did not. It was coincidence. So please, if you want to drag me after now, please do. All right. I think X will pay me more when you do. Thank you very much. All right. So, but ensure that you put all of this into practice. And when you do, it's going to take your account to a next level. It's going to, when people get into your Behance account, your profile, and there's one reason why I always recommend Behance. And the reason is this: on Behance, it's a global market. A lot of people come to Behance and they're not really looking for you. They might just be scrolling through, and that was the time you posted your job, something you did. And maybe the person searched logo designs, for instance, and the person just scrolls through and sees the beautiful cover photo. And ensure you work on your cover photo. That is what invites people. Anytime you work on something and you work on a cover photo, ask someone to look at it. Put 5 pictures or 3 and tell the person which one appeals to you. If a person does not choose that cover photo of the recent project you want to post, go and work on it again until you get it. Some people might feel like it's stressful, but it's going to help you because when I review a lot of people's portfolio. I've been opportune to do that. And anytime I entered into their Behance portfolio, there are certain projects that drag my attention. And there are certain projects that I don't even open. Those ones might be the best that they've ever done. But because the cover photo is not inviting, I feel like this is what. Have you ever seen 2 movies? You go to the cinema, you see 2 movies, and you've never seen them before, but you watch one of it. Why? Because of the cover photo. Many designers do this. I'm not talking about normal people. Normal people might watch it because of a particular artist, I mean, actor or actress that is in that movie. So they might watch it because of those people. But a designer would watch a movie. In fact, I download a lot of movies. And anytime I want to download a movie, I download the movie because of the cover photo. So anytime you're working on a design, regardless of how you tell the story, and you've painted a very good story in the body of your presentation of your case study, ensure you also prioritize the cover photo because that's what would create the clicks that people would click to want to see. So the person might be scrolling and see your account, see your new stuff, and the cover photo might just drag the person, and the person gets in and just wants to work with you. So ensure you prioritize these 3 things. And I feel like, based on my own experience, I feel like these are the 3 things that are some of the design challenge for a lot of people that are applying to jobs. The last one I was told to speak on was number 15. Sorry, this is a 2 hour space. So if you don't have much time, you could listen to the space later on. I'm so sorry for keeping you waiting. Number 15 is, what advice would you give to someone who is just starting their job search journey? I think I've spoken a lot about it already. Just ensure you work on your portfolio, ensure you apply to the right jobs. Don't feel like this designer is applying to this kind of jobs. Maybe the person must have shared a screenshot before, and you feel like I have to apply to those kind of jobs. Know where you are at the moment and apply to the jobs that will help you get to the next level. All right. Prioritize friendships. Connecting with the right people can even take you to a point where other people, it might take them so many years to get to. But connecting with the right person can get you there within a short time. Information is key. So take all informations and advice you get on Twitter. I see people tweet about not taking advice. Take them, filter the ones that you feel is applicable or resonates with you. I take all advice. I see people advice on Twitter a lot of people. Most of them is within their experience. Some people is based on the things they've read or heard other people say. All right, which I feel is experience. I see experience as based on what you've done, what you've seen, what you've heard. All right. And there's one other one I used to say, I've forgotten it. But these are the four major aspects of it that explains experience to me. So if you heard something from someone and you shared it, it's experience because I did not hear it from the person. Now I'm hearing it from you and I can share it to someone else. So that's experience. Take all advice and filter the ones you wish to filter. Prioritize personal branding. It's very key. See yourself as a brand. Don't see yourself as John Okafor. See yourself as a brand. John Okafor is a brand. It's a global brand. And I can get to that point if I take these steps that so person has taken. You need to read about people's story a lot. People's stories would inspire you. They would inspire you. They would give you new directions. You just feel some level of strength. You've been feeling down and you're sleeping, and before you know, you read someone's story and you're jumping off the bed. You want to work so hard to get to that point. So read a lot of people's stories, people that have succeeded in the past. Read their stories. How did they get to that point? It might not be applicable to your industry, but trust me, every story tells to every industry. The person was hardworking. The person took XYZ step. Networking works in every industry. So you have to understand these things. And I think with doing all of this, it's really going to help you. The last one before I move on, I've seen an admin's message. Um, okay. Yeah. So they're saying I should also bring up people that have questions. So if you have questions, please notify and come up. After this last one, I would open the floor to everybody. So I'm going to answer the first question that was given to me to answer. And it's about, let me see it again. Can you share a recent experience of a job? No, it's number three. On the flip side, can you tell us about a memorable job win or success in your career journey? What made it special? So I know I'm not speaking from my own account, but a lot of people know this already. I I got a job with a company in Saudi Arabia, and I got this job. I got Many people don't know, but I've been working with them for 6 months now. This is the seventh month, November. When I joined them, I was on probation for 3 months. I passed my probation, and they sent me a laptop, a MacBook. In fact, the recent, I'm proud of it, so I'll tell you guys. They sent me the recent one, M2 Max chip, 32 gig. I think it was about 1 terabyte or 2 terabytes thereabout. Still use it, and a lot more things happened. So when I was handed that laptop, a week later, I got a notification. I got a mail. It said full time designer visa process. So when I got that mail, I was, in fact, I won't even lie to you guys. I was in church. It was a Sunday. I was in church when I got the call that I had gotten. I was supposed to join my company full time in Saudi Arabia. I was teaching in church during that time. I was teaching in a free skill acquisition my church organized, Dominion City. And while I was teaching, that day was the last day of the class. Actually, I did not take a dime, and I think those things really help. Um, it personally helped. I've seen a lot of blessings from little things I do in church. All right, so while I was teaching, that was about 2 p.m. The call came in, and I got the call that I was to leave Nigeria in a few, maybe a month, and that was how the process started. The process started since the visa process took about 3 months. That's why I was in Nigeria till, if I was supposed to join them on my birthday, September 17th. That was the day I was supposed to resume work in Saudi. And the visa process took a very long time. I traveled to Abuja. That was the first time I ever entered a plane. I got to Abuja in September, and many people felt like I went for a business trip, but I was doing my visa process on the low. Nobody actually knew except for my friends. And yeah, I went, finished it, came back, and all of that. That was one of the, this is basically the biggest win I've ever had in my career so far. And then that was 2 weeks ago. I traveled down to Saudi Arabia. So I'm currently based in Saudi Arabia, and yeah, the company has done a lot for me. I mean, they gave me a new headset, they gave me a new keyboard, they've given me a lot of things. They gave me money. The first day I joined them, they gave me like, they call it a joining joining gift. That's what they called it. But they gave me over $1 million. That was about 3,500 Saudi Arabia currency. And I've been using that money since then. I've been using it to get stuff, my day-to-day needs and all of that. It's still remaining. So that has been my biggest win. And I'm really grateful to God. And I'm grateful to the person that found me on the team. Someone found me on the team. I'll be honest with you guys, I didn't really apply for the job. Someone found me on the team, and I just want to thank God for that. So one day I'm going to share this in full, how the person found me and the general process, the interview process, basically the job process. I'm going to share it one day, and I hope it helps someone out there. But with this, I've come to the end of my session. I'm going to leave the floor open now to questions, and then I'm also going to, so don't try to ask me questions relating to what I said I was going to share later. So I won't answer them. All right. I see that we have someone up here, and we have Ross. I think it's Ross. Ross, I'm sorry if I pronounce your name um, if I didn't pronounce your name correctly, Ross Hatton. So Ross Hatton is a senior digital designer, and he's helping shape the career of UI designers and also web designers. And yeah, Ross, I don't know if you have anything to share with us. I'd really be excited to hear from you. I also have Emmanuel. Emmanuel is a product designer. His user account is Zach Worldwide. So I think he also wants to share something. And I see you guys are not following us. Please follow us. We're begging. We're begging. Follow us. We have some things to also dish out. Just try and follow. We'll follow back. All right. So with that, I can see that we have about 36 messages in the comment section. So I'm wondering what that is. I'm very curious. So I'm going to click to check. But while I'm doing that, I don't know if Emmanuel wants to say something or if Ross wants to say
Yeah,
something. Yeah,
hi. Yeah,
Ross.
I can come in. Yeah, hi. How you
Yeah,
going?
Ross.
By the way, is you asked the pronunciation of my name and Ross is correct. Is yours Davio or Davio? Which one of those ones?
Yeah, Davio. I
Davio.
think Spanish, yeah, the Spanish people call it Davio. I think they call David. So the name is born out of David. So it's Davio, you're correct.
Okay, great. Yeah, but yeah, you got my pronunciation correct as well. So, but yeah, thanks for bringing me up. Yeah, as you said, I'm a senior designer and I've been in the industry for over 10 years, and some of the things that you were touching on earlier were, they really struck a chord with me because they're things that I teach all the time. And one of the things that I'll point out, and then I'm going to jump into a on-topic story about rejection turning into a win. But before I do that, the thing that you mentioned earlier about being visible, I think, in all honesty, whether you have an amazing portfolio website, whether you're just on Behance, whether you're on Dribble, whether you're just on social media, it doesn't really matter. The goal is to be visible. Visibility equals opportunity. And you could be the best designer in the world, but if nobody knows you exist, then that's a problem, right? So whatever you need to do to get yourself out there, and the best general way these days is to put yourself and your work online so that people can see not just the pretty pictures, not just the pretty work, but your thought process, your insights, how you solve problems. Remember, these are all hugely important things. And so whatever you need to do to get that out there, that's what you need to do. The other thing you mentioned, which I agree with, is people hire people. So companies hire people. In fact, I did a space. So I do regular spaces myself. I do a design space every Saturday. And the last space that I did, the topic was how to get a job in design. Actually, it was how to get a studio agency design job. And one of the things that, we discussed as a panel, I usually have sort of guest panel speakers there. One of the things that we discussed was sort of surrounding the soft skills and people hiring you as a person. And they also want your technician skills. They want you to be a great designer, of course, but that's only half the battle. An employer, I should say, wants someone that's great to work with, wants someone that has great communication skills. Maybe you've got other soft skills. Maybe you're great at selling. Maybe you're great at marketing. Maybe you have amazing listening skills and you can interpret client briefs into great things. They're the kinds of skills that are going to be way more valuable to an employer over just being a good designer. I've said a million times to other people myself, I am not the best designer and I'm not even trying to be. I do the job well enough and I make up for everything else in terms of value with all the soft skills that I bring to the table. And that's why I've had multiple agency jobs. I'm freelance now, but I've had multiple agency jobs over the years. And that's a good segue into a good on topic rejection turning into a win. So I'll just tell as succinctly a story as I can about this. But basically, I went for a job many, many years ago when I was fairly early in the design scene. And I got to the first interview, which was great. I then had a second interview, which also went very well. I then got to a third level, which was sort of a test, where they give you a design challenge and you take it away for the weekend, work on whatever it is, submit it back as if it's sort of like a fake, piece of work so they can gauge how you think, what your deliverables are, and that sort of stuff. Anyway, got right down to the final two, and I know this because they called me and they said, hey, it's between you and one other person. And so I was very, very excited at this point because it was quite a large agency, and I felt like when I applied for it, it was above my pay grade. So I was also very happy that they saw my work as being higher than what I saw it, which is also another lesson to take away. Try and apply for work that even is above your pay grade, because maybe you'll get a chance. Anyway, got down to me and one other guy, and I ended up not getting the job. So you might be saying, where's the win here? Well, the win comes into it 3.5 years later. Literally 3.5 years later, I was working at a completely different agency at this point. The first agency that I had these interviews with sent me an email, and the email says, "Hi Ross, thank you so much, for applying, a few years ago. Sorry you didn't get the job. Ha ha ha." Literally, it was like, "Sorry, we hired the other guy." In the email, they said this, but are you available for work now? And this was 3 years later, and I thought, this is bizarre. So I contacted them, got back in contact, the wheels were in motion at that point, and I actually ended up landing the job 3 years later. It was a bigger job at this point, but I essentially was still in their minds from the very first interviews 3 years earlier. So if you put your best foot forward, even if you get rejected, the lesson here is something might still come out of it. You don't always have to think, okay, that door is closed. Because in my case, they were so impressed by me that 3 years later, when they actually needed the role to be filled again, they didn't reach out to anyone else. They didn't advertise the position. They literally just contacted me first, said, "Am I available?" I said yes. We started talking, did all the negotiation stuff, and then I got that job, and I left the agency I was working at to go and work for this company, which was a much larger job. So yeah, for anyone out there that is getting rejections, I'm not saying this is going to happen to you and you're going to get a job 3 years later. What I'm trying to say is keep your positivity, keep your eyes open, always put your best foot forward, and hopefully something good and someone will give you a chance at some point.
Thank you so much, Ross. That was really, really insightful. I mean, even getting them getting back to you showed a lot of value that they really had seen in you at the time you pick. You know, certain things happen during interviews. At times, people would not pick you because they feel like you're a bit pricey, not because you don't have that value, but because at the moment where they find themselves, they are unable to pay you your value. So there are companies that really regard um, people, and they go as far as hiring the people culture person to be on the team to manage people. And I'm not talking about HR. So the people would value you, and they may not want to beat down your price because they feel like you really deserve that amount that you've mentioned. So I think that must have been one of the challenge Ross had, and I'm glad that he really shared this
Yeah, I think
experience.
also, sorry to interrupt. I think
Yeah,
as well,
go ahead,
the
go ahead.
the other thing, I don't think this was the case for the job, the story that I just told. I think legitimately from memory, the other person, how I said it came down to me and one other person. I think that other person just had a few more skills in their arsenal that I didn't have because maybe they were a couple of years ahead of me, and that's the only reason that they went with that person. It wasn't a cultural fit or anything like that. But I will say that I mentor some junior designers, and a lot of them in the past, especially when they don't get a job and they get rejected, they just take it really personally. And I've often said to them, "Well, do you know that it was a personal thing? Like, was it your skills? What was it?" And what you just said about cultural fit, that actually plays a huge role because you could be a great designer, but maybe just for whatever reason, you didn't have a cultural fit in that particular agency. So don't take things personally. It's not always about that. Often it's just about how you fit within that organization, and the kind of skills that you bring to the table are not always as important as you think. And I guess not to take it so personally.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ross. That was really insightful. Um, I think we had Emmanuel. I think Emmanuel had a network issue. This is Tech Files. I think that's the pronunciation. And he's a Flutter developer and a UI UX designer. I think he was born uh, on the 18th of April because I can see that on your bio. So if you're with us, please can you kindly uh, unmute and just probably ask your question or say what you want to say. Fausan, Fausan, I don't think he's there. So I'll just go down to the comment section and I have, I think these are more of introductions. Okay. Sorry, I'm going through the comment section trying to look for a question. Can find a lot of introductions.
I have,
So
I
you're
have. If
looking.
if you can't find anything, I have a question for you that might
Oh,
help the
okay,
audience as well. So I
okay.
have an opinion on this, but I'd love to hear yours. What hard skills? So I talked about soft skills earlier. What hard skills do you think a product designer, UI UX designer, digital designer, web designer, etc. What hard skills do you think are worth upskilling to so that you have a complementary skill?
Okay, thank you very much for that. Okay, so recently I started using Framer, and I've been using Framer now for a while. I think about a month, and I've been designing. I've created my first website at the moment. I can't really give much context into it, but I'm at the point where I am now. The only issues I have with Framer is just understanding certain animations, but I can do so much with it at the moment. So I think skills that you anyone has to go into, hard skills that anyone has to go into. If you're a brand designer, I would say you should start picking up some skills. And I'm not saying immediately you learn brand design, you get into the skill. But once you've stayed in a particular zone or skill or niche for a while, I think as a brand designer, you should start knowing how to create UI designs. All right. So that would be taking a course. You can take a course and then learn more about UI designs. You might not dive into it immediately, but it's a good knowledge that would help you in so many ways. Now, as a brand designer, I had I had like skills. I had like gigs that needed the services of a UI designer. Now, imagine I was doing that at that time. I would have filled that position as well and in more. So that can help you. Now, as a UI designer, I would tell you to learn front end development. So you could start learning a bit about CSS, HTML, Java. You could just understand what it means because there are certain jobs now that you apply to that they would ask for um, a minimum of HTML. They'll want you to know what these things are. And it's not because you may go there and work in the role of a developer as well, but they want to understand that you know how to design. Now, there are many people that design, but they're not designing with the right information. So you create stuff, they are beautiful, but they are not implementable. All right. There are a lot of things like that. They are not done the right way with the best practice. We have industry standards and practices that guide the designs of even iOS designs and Android designs. So when you start designing within your own knowledge without going through these guidelines, then it affects the engineering team. So many companies would want to know that this person has that level of understanding of development tools before joining them, so that when you're designing, you design with reality checks in place. So the hard skills, if this is basically what it is, would be UI designers learning a thing about front end design. I don't I don't really fancy back end. I think back end designers are more of writers because you're going to write a lot of codes. So if you want to go into back end, that's also fine. But I would recommend front end. And then for developers, I cannot say anything about them because I met one the other day and he has spent over 20 years, 25 years in the engineering team. He has basically added more tools to his skill set within engineering. So I think developers don't really go into any other stuff, maybe leaving back end to front end or leaving front end to back end. So I don't know if this answers you, Ross, but that's basically what I would advise.
Yeah, it does. I think the only thing that so basically I'm a web designer. I call myself a digital designer purely because I don't just do websites. I also do social media and digital marketing sort of stuff as well. So I kind of bundle myself as a digital designer, but it doesn't really matter what I call myself. It just matters what my skill set is. So the one that I am looking to upskill to right now, which is more of an interest than it is about me trying to upskill to sell it, because I'm doing perfectly fine with my freelance career as is. But to kind of keep learning, because I really want to keep learning skills. I think motion design for me right now and interaction design sort of tickle my fancy, I guess I could put it, in terms of, creating motion and creating movement. Obviously, when I've dabbled in Framer, dabbled in Webflow. I used to do WordPress back in the day as well. So I've dabbled in interaction design and animation and stuff, but motion design in particular, I think can play a really large role in design in general. And I think brand designers, I mean, I'm not a brand designer, but I certainly think that brand designers and logo designers could also benefit from motion because it brings that to life a little bit. And I think a lot of industries in 2023 and going on to next year, that sort of motion, that bringing things to life is going to be a pretty vital kind of part. Have you had any experience with motion design or any of that sort of stuff on your end?
And frankly, I did at some point, I did 3D design. At some point, I also did motion design with After Effects. But at the moment, my brother is a motion designer. So he's the one handling that particular niche in my family really well. But yeah, I've had like an experience using After Effects and creating a motion design that had nothing to say. It was just anyhow. Yeah, so that's really a good skill. I enjoy seeing things move, and I think brand designers and designers work a lot together. And then interaction design is really one good skill to have. I think every designer should actually have that. Yeah, so that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, so Emmanuel, do you have a question for us?
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
My name is Emmanuel, Okoli Emmanuel, and I just got into product design. I just started learning about a month ago. Um, you have been a really big part of it because I follow you on Twitter. I see your report and everything. Also, congratulations on your new job.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so I have two questions. First question is, what advice will you give to people that are just getting into product design? And the second question is, what is the time frame? What time frame do you recommend for that will be enough for someone to get ready with that before he or she can start applying for internships or jobs? Thank you.
Okay, Emmanuel, thank you very much for the two questions. So I'm going to start with the first one because the first one will lead to the second one. Um, what advice do I have for product designers? So I have this is not a publicity, but I have a video on my YouTube channel. So you can find it. I'm not going to mention what my YouTube channel is, but you can find it and watch a roadmap that I created. I think someone's mic is on. You could just help me mute. You can find it. It's a 1 hour video I created explaining a roadmap for product designers. Now, like I said earlier in this space, it is based on my own experience. So whatever has helped me get to the part or to the point where I'm at the moment, that is basically what I shared in that video. So you can find it and watch it later. But to answer your question, one of the key things I'm going to say is that many people get into sorry, I need to mute someone. Yeah, so many people get into a particular skill and they are instantly thinking of landing a job. I know it's everyone's dream, frankly. And at DreamHacks, that's something we're very much concerned with, ensuring people's dreams come true with our little help. But you need to understand that there's a process in everything you do. And that's why you go through school, go through primary school, secondary school, the university, before you come out and you want to start working. So this same thing applies to a skill. You need to go through the phase of learning, and learning never ends. And that's why you've discovered that people have left schools, colleges many years ago, and they're still studying. But what I'm going to say is a perfect time for you to start looking for a job. If I say it, people will be angry, but it's the best thing. The time you can start looking for a job is when you've created value for someone. And this value, I think I know many people were feeling like I would mention a duration, but I won't do that. When you've created value for someone, this value can be in form of a freelance gig. You did a job for someone freelance. The person discovered your designs because a lot of us share our designs on the internet, and people see this and people want to get into your DM to find out if you're available to work for them. Now, when you get such a job and you're able to see that job from the beginning to the end of it, don't be concerned about the money the person will pay you. A lot of people reach out to me and it's the first time they're getting a job and they're asking me, how much should I charge? I would love to answer your question, but I wouldn't want you to lose the job. So instead of asking that question, what you should be more concerned with is, what should I give them as a duration for this job? That should be your only concern. And seeing that job from the beginning to the end, because doing a personal project is way different from working for someone. The person can easily tell you, I don't like this, without giving you context to why they don't like it. So you start thinking, in fact, immediately you become very confused. You're thinking, what could be the problem? And the person would tell you a second time. All of this would lead to a process where you would understand how to work with certain people. And that's what the experience is all about. And when you've been able to take that particular project from start to finish, you can start looking for jobs, especially entry roles, not a senior designer's job or a junior or intermediate designer's job. Look for an entry role. And from entry role, obviously, you will not look for an entry role. You look for a junior role, and then you just keep growing. So, but first thing first, understand what you're doing. You're not going to learn the Google US course in just 1 month and feel like you're now Odogu. No, it's going to take you a very long time. If you ask me, it's going to take you 1 year, at least 1 year, to learn that course. Many people feel it's outdated, fine. But for me, I'll tell you that that course is very valuable. So take it to learn about UX, and UX is really going to help you in your designs. All right. Once you take that course, you can find another course, learn about UI. You can start learning from different people. No knowledge is a waste. Take it gradually. Work on a portfolio. After you've learned, you need to work on a portfolio. You need to show results. There's a Bible scripture, I'm sorry if you're not a Christian, that says, study to show yourself approved, a workman that needed not to be ashamed. And in my own context, that's why I always clamor for people posting their stuff. So if you're not ashamed of what you're doing, you would post it. And if you've gotten to that point where you now have joy in posting your stuff, trust me, you can now apply for jobs, because not many people have that confidence to share their stuff. So if you've gotten to that point, congratulations. It's time for you to now start looking for jobs. And then just ensure you've worked for someone, either a friend or a client. And that could also add as your experience, as your work experience for your CV. This is a bonus tip. Don't tell them I told you. All right. But you can work for someone as a freelance gig or a friend, and you can include it in your CV as a work experience. You can put the duration from May to June, as long as the project took, and that can also work as that. For the other one, I'm not a fan of internships, so you would not see me advising you to take up a job as an intern, especially in demography. I'm not a fan of it at all. But if you must, because recently I've started using this phrase, if you must, so that someone does not drag me, I'm always saying this because I have a very fragile heart. So, but if you must, then it has to be a notable company, a company that is not a startup. If you're going to work as an intern in a startup, then it has to be a startup that is doing something good in the industry. Why should you work as an intern? The reason is this: you want to learn, to build your confidence that will lead to an experience. Wow, I sound like a pastor. So that's basically why you want to work as an intern. Most of you want to work as an intern because you want to get paid. And that's why I don't recommend startups in our demography, because they're going to use you for the job. You're not going to get the experience because you're not going to learn from someone. You're going to do the job yourself. I feel some people learn that way too, but it's most special when you go to a company that already has an existing designer, like a senior designer or an intermediate designer, and you're able to learn things from that person. My HOD where I work, I've learned a few things from him. And I'm being open about it. I've learned things from him, shortcuts. I've learned a lot. You're going to learn a lot from this person that would enhance your own experience. So that's what internship should be all about. It shouldn't be even you going to in. Frankly, it shouldn't be about you going to in. It should be about you going to get an experience. And that's why a lot of people apply to Google and Microsoft. They go there, learn. They don't even tell you, oh, I in this. They tell you about the experience they had working there as an intern. And that's what matters, because when you go to work in somewhere else and you tell them you are a Google intern, they will want to hire you because they feel like during that phase of you working there, you must have worked with different departments. It's more like IT. You work in different sections of the company. You will learn about one or two things. So those companies want to take from those ideas and they'll want to hire you. So yeah, I think I've covered everything in this little things I've said. And yeah, I do hope it helps you. Emmanuel, please confirm that I answered all your questions. Okay, so Emmanuel is muted. I'll just move to the next person. Yeah, Emmanuel, what did you say?
Sorry, I was muted. I said thank you. I'm satisfied with the answers.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Emmanuel. Yeah, so Emmanuel, I would have to put you. I would not remove you from the speaker. I would just like you to leave, and the reason is because we have about 4 more requests, and so if you're still up here, yeah,
Okay, no problem.
Ross as well. Ross, I'm sorry, just need to bring more people up. We can still bring you guys up afterwards. I can only accept this number. All right. I'm going to move to I think that's Freddie. Fosan, please. Do you have a question, Fosan? If you don't, in the next few seconds, I'm going to take you off as a speaker.
No, I don't have any question.
Okay, please kindly leave the top. Do you want to share an experience, Fosan?
No.
Okay, kindly leave as a speaker. I'm so sorry, so that we can get other people that want to speak. Thank you for
Okay,
your
it's okay.
understanding. Yeah.
Okay.
Freddie.
Hey, Davio. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Freddie. Please go ahead.
All right. So first things first. Thank you. The amazing advice and everything. Really good. So my question is, you said something about knowing the right time to apply for a job, right? Um, Most people do not know when they are good enough. So my question is, how do you know when you're good enough? Because I believe every designer has this, or everybody in tech at some point in time have this self-doubt thing. And how do you know that, okay, even with the presence of the self-doubt, you are good enough to apply for this job? That's my question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Freddie. And I think this is a very, very important question. So everyone has this thing, like you said, everybody has self-doubts. Even people that you consider senior designers still have self-doubts. Because there are times you might do a particular project and you didn't even get a good feedback from it. You just feel like, are you sure I've gotten to that point where I'm supposed to be taking this kind of project? But I'll tell you this, getting good or being good enough is a lifetime thing. And this, I would say it again, is based on my own experience. I think it's a lifetime thing. So you would never be that good enough. You would always get to a point where you would look back at what you created years ago I'm sure you've created stuff. You created stuff at the beginning of your journey. I don't know how long you've been in tech, but let's say you created something a few months back and you created something new today. If you look at both of them, you're going to see that what you created today is way better than what you created a few months back. Now, let me shock you. In the next couple of years, 2 years from now, what you're going to create then will be better than what you're creating now. I'm going to land. In the next 5 years from now, what you're going to create then, in fact, people would not be able to contend the design. But you, self, you still have that self-doubt. Feel like I've not gotten there. You will still keep, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing. When you feel like you're now good, you'll be so relaxed. You'll be very relaxed. But when you feel that you're not that good enough, you would always explore to get to that point. And that's why I said it can take a lifetime. And I'm talking about in your career. Some people design for 30 years, and that's the lifetime of their design career. They move into something else. So it can take a lifetime for you. All right. Now, getting to the point where you can now start applying for a job, like what I said earlier, is creating something of value. Whatever you create is of value to people. Trust me, whatever you create, people have different eyes to the way they look at things. The thing you consider ugly is beautiful to someone. And that's why you see that you work for certain clients and they love what you created, but you don't like it. In fact, you will never share it, but they love it. So whatever you create has value. There's beauty in everything. There's art in everything. So you will never be good enough, my bro. And that's something I can consider. I can guarantee you that you'll never be that good enough. So if you need to apply for a job and you just started your journey into tech, this is not the right time. The right time for me, like I said, would be learning from a course first. Why I always recommend a course is it will teach you the rudiments, to take you from the basics, giving you reasons for why you're doing that stuff, not just showing you the beauty. So it's going to tell you why you're choosing that color. It would make you understand that choosing a color does not only define the brand. The color itself has a meaning. It has a definition. So if you're using a red color for a hospital brand, you're wrong. You have to check the meanings. So that would help you. Now, to take a course will not be 1 month. It won't be 1 month. Someone took a course. I know the person. The person took the course in 1 week, and I'm shocked. A course that people take for months. I know people study differently, but when taking a course, understand that the goal is not to get the certificate. Certificate will not give you a job. What would give you a job is what is in your portfolio. What have you done? That's what people want to know. And that's why a university student cannot just come out and get to a manager's position. The person must have done enough to get to that position. So getting to that point, work for someone, offer value. You can offer this value for free. Ensure you see it to the end. When you see it to the end, and this thing has been implemented, if you're a UI designer, you understand what I'm talking about. It has been developed and you've watched it for a time, then you can start applying for jobs. I'm not saying you shouldn't apply for jobs. Trust me, you can only be on the internet and a job would come to you. You don't even need to apply. Someone will just send your post to someone. It has happened to me. There's a company I work with today, Chiva. I was on a space speaking. I'm not working with them anymore though, but we're very good friends. I was on a space and someone from the company heard me speaking and the person recommended me to that company. I've moved from working on that particular project to working on another project that they currently have. And that is something you cannot take for granted. So I believe in grace. All right. I believe in grace. Or I believe that grace works based on our works. So you have to show something to be able to get to the point where you want to. So I'm not going to give you a duration of time, but I only want to tell you two things. One, a course will not take you 1 week or 1 month to finish. And then the second one is keep posting your stuff on the internet. Just take a course, learn the rudiments, the basics, start sharing your stuff gradually on the internet. Don't be quick to start teaching people, because when you position yourself as a teacher, you start losing opportunities. Certain opportunities that you have gotten, person will feel like, oh, this person is a teacher, is not a designer. So try to post more of your designs than your tutorship, so that people don't misquote what they feel you are. All right. So that's something, one tip I'm also going to share. I hope that helps you, man. I think that's Freddie, right?
Yeah, it does. Thanks a lot.
Awesome. I'm still looking for that one person one day that will tell me, it doesn't help. Give more context. But let's move to the next person. That's Smiley. Smiling. Yeah, smiling.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, smiling.
Yeah, good evening.
Freddie,
Okay.
Freddie, don't be annoyed. Please, I don't know if you can just leave for now so I can bring more people to the space. I really appreciate that you came up to ask that question.
Sure, no problem.
Yeah, smiling, please go ahead.
Okay. I'm Bimbo. A graphic designer for over 5 years now, and I upskilled to UI US been like a year and a half now. My question now is, you know, I'm working on a new project, and it seems I'm not touching I'm not designing screen like since the first week I started working on the project. It's just a lot of you know designing my user flows and crafting my personas and everything like that. And now I'm feeling like, am I slacking? Do I need to be designing UI? Like, no, I'm just asking to clarify all this, because it's been like a week or two now, and everything I've been doing, I've not even. It's just about documentation of all my thought process and the way I want to go about the design. And then, so I want to ask if that is applicable to everyone else, because this is the second this is my second project that I'll be taking this kind of approach. So I want to ask if it's like that with everybody. That's my question.
So I didn't, to be honest with you, I didn't want to cut you, but I didn't really get your question. I don't know if you can just briefly
Okay.
go over it again.
What I mean is, you know, I get a gig. I got a gig, and the first few weeks of those gigs have been a lot of documentation, crafting my user flows and personas and everything, but not really designing anything. Not getting to Figma to design UI screen and all that. And now it's been like probably like 2 weeks, and I'll be like, am I doing the right thing? Do I need to be designing UI? I mean, I've not been designing anything for like a week or a week and a half. It's just about documentation, trying to understand my problem. Then I'm asking if this is how it is for everybody taking into new projects. Hello?
Yeah, I heard you, but I don't know if the issue is from me. I'm not able to understand the question yet. I don't know if anybody who is live here can just iterate on what he has said so that I can understand it better, please.
Okay, for
Okay.
okay.
Okay,
Okay,
here we come.
Sorry, smiling. Let Tunde just yeah, Tunde, please go ahead.
Okay. Thank you very much, boss. Before my question comes on, what is actually saying is the process of doing wireframes, doing brainstorming, getting your user flows done, information architectures, and things like that. the sketches, lo-fi before doing the proper UI? Because from the perspective of a graphic designer, he will be used to more of doing designs straight up UIs. So he's not used to the flows, the sketches, and things like that. So that's it.
Okay, thank you very much. Smiling, was that your question? Like, if it's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
way it's
yeah.
supposed to be?
Yeah. My question is directly. Let me just ask now. You already I mean, say almost all of it, but I'm just asking like, what's your thought process taking to new gigs
A
and
new
all that?
project.
Yeah, new
Okay,
project.
okay. All right, so I can see Ross coming up. Okay, so I'll just bring you up again, Ross. So my thought process when I get a new project, I think if you joined earlier, you must have heard me talk about a few of them. Well, the first things I like to do is understand the brand. But let me be honest with you, I don't understand the brand at the beginning. I understand the brand more the more I go on the project. But I don't start designing first. Now, at the moment, I work with UX writers. I work with my very good writer, Chika. In fact, we're working on the project at the moment. I work with them a lot, and they help me define a lot of things. One of the key things they help me define is information architecture. They help me define the content. I may just put a particular caption, but it doesn't really have an underlining reason for that caption. Everything matters when it comes to UI design. So these guys help me do that a lot. So I'm not going to take credit for that. I focus more on user research and UI design. So I do this too. But when it comes to the in-depth captions, copies, information architecture, more user research, these guys are the ones that are paid to do those stuff. So you have to do those things. Those are the basic things you have to do before getting into the project. And I know you're going to work for certain people that want the project to be done fast. So they don't want to go through that process. All right. So you need to understand your clients, whoever you're working with. If you know that it's not within your value, it's not something you'd like to do, then you let it be. But if you need that fund, a lot of us need that money. Everybody needs the money. No matter the value you're creating for someone, you still need to get paid because it keeps motivating you. So if the person pays you for it, then just do what the person wants. All right. But if you must go through a good concept or direction or roadmap for your project, the first things you should do is understanding the product requirement document. You're going to hear a lot of PRODs, PRODs. That's basically the full meaning. Product requirement document. This outlines the features for the product. The products that you're going to design. It's going to tell you, oh, this product is Twitter or is X. It's going to have a Twitter space feature. And you need to ask them more questions. Don't assume that Twitter space is basically what we're doing now. Don't assume that it's going to be a Google Meet call interface. Ask more questions to what it truly is and let them break it down. Most people, in fact, most of the products you see today that people want to do are things they've seen somewhere before. I think that there are not much original ideas anymore. So maybe people just iterate on other people's ideas and add one thing to just make it unique. So there are things people have seen. So you need to ask, have you seen this somewhere? It's not bad to ask. You need those benchmarks to know what people are already doing so that you can enhance what people are already doing and make yours unique. All right. So that would help you break down the PRD. After breaking this is the next step is to go into further research, which most people don't do. A lot of people say we do research, we don't really do it. All right. So do your research. You can ask people. And one of the key ways to get out feedback faster is to ensure you give more context to the research. I see people share a lot of links everywhere, and they're like, hey, we're building something. Please help us fill this research. No, that's not the best way. The best way is to give people context. I know you want to hide the idea. Nobody knows the features. Whether you say, oh, we're building a sports app, nobody knows the features you want to put up there. So let them know more context. Hey, guys, we're building a sports product that has VR features. Maybe just mention one feature that has this, and we're trying to reach out to people that are sports lovers to help us fill the survey. It carries some questions that would help us build or work on or build something that is user centered. And you see, people would be willing to fill it, and not just anybody. People that are sports lovers, that love sports. So there's critical questions you're going to ask there that would make them understand, that will make them give answers based on the passion they have for sports. They'll want those things to be there. Do you have any recommendations? They'll tell you, I would have loved a sports app that would have this. So you'll be shocked that even normal people that are not designers would give you the best answers. And then you can now move into other things like ideation. In ideation stage, this is where you benchmark a lot. A lot of people benchmark, and there's a particular designer, an international designer, that shares his mood boards a lot. He posts it on Twitter, and most times it gets a lot of engagements. And I've learned something from that guy. I mean, sharing things that people usually hide. A lot of people would get people's ideas, bring 4 different designs, and pick things from all 4 of them, and they get something unique. People hide these things, but we do them. All right. So you need to benchmark. You need to get mood boards, get out things that will inspire the design, get out the competitors of this brand. By the time you put all of this into consideration, you will be able to pick out the interesting things about the different brands, put them together, create your own idea, your own solution, and you have a brand that is solid. And then from there, you can now move into, in ideation stage, you sketch. You're sketching on paper, not in your brain. You sketch on paper, you try to get out different layouts that would work, and then you can move into the design. Now in the design, people will tell you start from low fidelity, high fidelity before you get into visual design. Many of us don't do this. We don't do it. Me, I don't do it. Let me not say many of us. I'll speak for myself. I don't do it. I get into the visual design, but I start with the black and white colors. I think it's called monochrome. So I start with those colors. And by the time I finish with that, I can now decide what colors would have for the different sections based on the brand colors. So if the brand does not have a color, then this is something we'll decide on at the beginning. I'm a brand designer, so we'll need an identity. All right, but I can now start deciding what colors from this brand colors can I use for special actions, like the CTAs, the buttons. All right, most times people use what we call the accent colors. The accent colors are the brighter colors. Why? And that would have 10% of the time on the product. It's not going to be 60%. 60% has to do with the background color. It's either in light mode or dark mode. That would be 60%. The other one would be the text colors. And then any other color in between would fall under the accent colors. But I hope this gives you a direction. Now, throughout the process, I always carry the client along. Once I finish a particular flow, I always break my project into a user flow. And that user flow is more like an information architecture, but it basically tells me what I need to do, like a product I'm working on. I know it's going to have the splash screen, the onboarding screen, the authentication screen before I now start diving into the home screen. Now in the home screen, that's where I now break down the different navigations. So what would be the major features? And the client must have sent that to you already. So you don't need to assume. What features do you want in this project? When the client gives that to you, then you can now make further research. You can now know what feature is this? This client said this is going to have a virtual game feature. What exactly is this? Ask the client. If the client is not able to give you a lot of context, then go online and look for what virtual games. And then when I gather all of this, I can now go into more designs, into the different pages. And then I'd like to prototype. Prototyping would help you in line with not missing out certain screens. That's one of the major things I see in prototyping. Not that what you prototype is what the engineer would use. Some of you would create certain interactions and you believe that they can export it and use it that way. They won't. It's just a guide for the developer to know what to do. So prototyping would enable me know that, oh, if I click on this and it does not take me to the page it's supposed to, then I'm supposed to design that page. And then I'll go back to the screen, to my file, design it, and then I go into testing. This testing would involve, I have several testing. So I do A and B testing. A lot of you have seen it. Most times I share things. I'm not just trying to get people to talk. I'm testing something. So I share two different designs that are with the same information, but they have different layouts. And that's A and B testing. And by doing that research, I go back to the board and I know what people say. Some people don't only say A or B. They will tell you, oh, A, because I feel like based on my experience, blah, blah, blah. And by the time they drop all of those are the key ones I'm even looking for, not even the poll. And then I get reasons for why this person feels like A is the best one. And that's what we call A and B testing. And then I can do other tests with the owners who are the stakeholders of the product. But I think I've spoken extensively, but I hope this answers you, man. You're in the right direction.
Thank you, sir. It does.
You owe me $10.
Okay.
All right. Dahons, you're next. I think it's over 2 hours now. So we're going to wrap up in the next 20 minutes so that I can also rest. It's about 11 over here. So Dahos, over to you. So if you have, sorry, before you go on, Dahos, if you have any question, you can drop it in the comment section because after the other two people that are up here, yeah, so I've accepted everyone. So I won't be accepting any other person up on the space. So if you have any question, just drop it in the comment section and we'll definitely read it. But yeah, Dahos, go over. Over to you.
Good evening. Down here actually. But I am someone that just transitioning into UI UX. But I think the problem I'm having is I am actually not even particular about getting a job now or probably in the next 1 or 2 months. But I think the problem is I am having this particular doubt about when I am sure that when I'll be sure that I've gotten to know this thing. Because there are times like when I design and some people make corrections, you know, I'm like, how did I even get to miss these things in particular? Like, it's not like I've not read about them because I've read a lot about UX. But then again, when I make designs, there are times I'm just like, why did I miss out on all these US principles when I've read about them?
So Dahos, I understand you. And I'm going to tell you this. Many of us go to school and we learn something, we come out and we're unable to implement it. Most times, it's not because you cannot implement it, but it's because you probably were excited about something else or you did not think about it at that time. And this is basically what I'm going to say to answer your question. The more you design, the more your experience grows. So the things you did not implement in a previous project, you will notice in a new project that I need to do this. And then there are things you will still not implement in that project that you will notice in your next project. And it will keep getting better. And that's why a child will not just come out of the mother's womb and start walking. If any child does that, you see that they will probably send that child to one church for the child to take over from the pastor. All right, but that's basically what it is. It takes you from different steps. So, but Keaton, every designer must pay attention to details. But this is something that is normal. Trust me, it's very normal. The more you grow in your journey, the more your experience opens up, the more you apply those principles that you've read about. You may not be able to understand how to apply them at the beginning, but eventually you get to understand it more. My team at DreamHacks are one team that has so many eyes. So I might do something now and post it there. And one person will just, I don't want to mention names so that Someone will not feel somehow. But one person will just tell me, Davio, I think we should do this. In fact, one of them is here. And he told me about something we did today. Yeah, today. You need to touch this. And I touched it and it became better. Right? So having a second eye too can help you create better experiences. So if you have that friend, some of you have built that accountability partner. They're a team that I love their bond. There are about 4 of them in that accountability group, and they all have gotten jobs. They've pushed themselves together. So you can have those kind of friends. I have my friends. If I create a new designer, they're the first people that see it before it even goes out. In fact, before I even left the country, they were the first people that knew about it. So the day I posted it, they were like, "It's good to be an insider." I saw the comment and I was laughing. It's good to be because they had known about it. So you can share it to that group, post it there, and tell them, guys, what do you guys think about this? And you'll be shocked at what people will tell you. A collaborated project is way better than a personal project. So if you collaborated with people to work on something, you get out better results. But experience grows over time. I hope that answers you, man.
Yeah, dude, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
No problem. You owe me $30. All right, Lei.
Yeah,
Lei, I can see you're on mute. Yeah, please go
good
ahead.
evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Okay, I'm Patrick from Cross River, Nigeria. I'm actually a junior designer, but I have some few questions. But first, I will start by appreciating. Thank you for giving me your course for free, and I really really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Davio. I don't know if you can really recognize me, but I have a question here. Hello.
Yeah, go ahead. Lei.
Um,
You're welcome. Yeah, go ahead.
what advice would you like to give to a junior designer in the industry of UI UX design? Because it's kind of challenging here for me, merging designing and also having a part-time job. I'm currently working as a manager in one hotel here, but it's really challenging for me. I don't know, but from your story, I've really heard enough and I've learned from it. So I don't know, what would you like to advise me as someone that I'm merging of the designing work and also my side hustle? What would you like to advise that person?
So I'm can you mute for a while? Okay, thank you. So this is what I'm going to advise you, Patrick. I think that's Patrick. What I'm going to say is this: coming from someone that once I was in the same position as you are today. I was working in a company. I was working as a cleaner, and then I was also doing design. That was I started design 2020, and then in 2021 I resigned from that place. So I'm not telling you to resign. I worked there for 8 years. So if you're just starting to work there, then I think you still have so much more time. But this is what I'm going to say: prioritize what gives you food. It's very, very important. Don't feel like a lot of people are winning in tech. I have to leave tech. I have to leave this job and focus on tech. Prioritize what gives you food, because when that food is out, you would be so discouraged at everything. And that's why they say an angry man is a hungry man. So if you're hungry, you'll be very angry, especially when you feel like, oh, I'm hungry and I don't even have the means to feed myself. It can be a very huge challenge for anyone. So prioritize that job. Now, this is something you can do. Find time daily, 1 hour, 2 hours to do your design. Now, what you should be focusing on at the moment should be to create 5. I'm not going to tell you 5 or more or 2 or this. 5 solid case studies. When you do this, share them on the internet. Share them. And when you do this, by the time you create the fourth or fifth one, start applying for jobs. While working there, apply for jobs. Just keep applying. Meet people that would give you the best advice. All right. I think I gave you a course. I can't remember because I have given some other persons. So I gave you that stuff. My advice might come with a cost. So you have to pay for that one. But meet people that would advise you when you've gotten to that point on how you can apply for jobs. Many people think it's just easy. It's not that easy. Meet them, let them advise you. And trust me, within 1 year, you'll be shocked at your growth. And don't aim too high. If you're currently being paid a certain amount, aim to get extra 20% or 30% of that amount. Don't shoot so high. Now, if you get a job that doubles it, then you know that God has blessed you. And then you can now leave the job. And that was what happened to me. I got a job. I'm just going to share this experience. When I got into tech, 6 months later, I got my first job. That was December 2020. I got the first job. It was a remote job. But I'm not going to tell you I got the job because I applied. I did not apply. I was just in the office at the cleaning place one afternoon and the owner called me. It was because of someone I did a flyer for, a music cover. And the person, till now, we're very good friends. In fact, she calls me billionaire. I call her billionaire too. Very good friends. And I don't know how we became friends. Why creating that? She was a singer. And that was how she connected me to that job. So right now should be a time for you to actually do free stuff with your skill. Try to do free stuff for people and just remove your mind that anything will come out from it. You never can tell where things will come out from. And while I was doing that, I got that job and they were paying me 30,000. That's what they were paying me. I worked there for over a year. And while I was working there, 2021, I got a job. It was a travel agency. 2021, I got a job with a real estate company. In fact, now they are very big. I would have mentioned their name, but I'll just leave that out. They're very big in my city. And working with them, I worked with them for about a year. But while working with them and working for the travel company, I was earning, they were paying me 25,000, the real estate company. And then these other people were paying me 30,000. So with that put together, I was earning 55,000 every month. And then what happened was I was getting freelance gigs. So I'll get 2K here, I'll get 1K. I was getting all this small. I'm not talking dollars, I'm talking naira. So that's about $1, $2. I was just getting $1, $2 from people. And that was how I put things together. At the end of the month, I'll get like 80,000 from my design career. And then I was being paid, as at that time, I was now being paid 57,500 at my cleaning company. That was the 7th year. And I was earning that. So put together, I was earning over 100,000 at the end of the month. So I contemplated resigning. And I'm saying this because he asked this question. I asked a lot of people, a whole lot of people, even people that I was very close to at the company. And it took months. It took over 6 months before I resigned. I resigned 1 week to my birthday. I was born in September 17th. So I resigned a week to my birthday, 2021. And one shocking thing happened. And so God has really helped me throughout this journey of my life generally. On my birthday, the company that paid me 30,000, the brand, let me not call their name, the travel company, they closed for the year, and I had just resigned. Now, my hope was this cleaning company is paying me 57,500, and then I'm getting 55,000 from my 2 jobs, my freelance jobs or my remote jobs, and I still do some jobs for some people. And I can just get more than the 57,500. But now I was not left with thousand, and then if I get a freelance job, that pushed my limits. I started studying like a crazy person. If you see me that period, I still have a video on my phone. I was so lean because I was thinking about so many things. I just moved from my single room apartment to a 1-bedroom apartment, hoping that God has taken me to the next level. So what happened was 1 week later, I got a very controversial gig that has been in the industry. In fact, that has made a lot of people hate me in the industry. I got a gig from someone from a group. And this is where I'm going to talk about community. So you need to join communities. Communities would help you. And you need to be very active. See, most of you just share your link on communities and just go off. You don't even share the picture of the design. You just post the link and you go off. Being active in a community can help you greatly because the admins may not notice you, but your fellow designer, it's not everybody that is in a community that is a designer. Most of them are job recruiters. They're just looking at you people and seeing who is that person we're going to get a new job for, that we're going to change the person's life. So sharing your stuff in a community can help you. So share, be active, respond to other people's stuff. When the community shares an information, respond. Do that, notice me. Let them notice you. Let people notice you, but let them notice you for the good stuff. Don't be the other person that they'll notice for the bad stuff. So that's what I did. I was in a community, and somebody from a community reached out to me 1 week later. I think it was 1 week later or before I resigned. I can't remember now, but I think it was before I resigned or 1 week later. I got a gig to draw 10,000 illustrations. And then later on, they added 100 more and they paid me more for that. So, but at the beginning, it was 10,000 illustrations. And it was that time that NFTs were now kind of reigning. So I started the process. Then I was using a tool known as Inkscape. I had not even started using Photoshop or Illustrator because I was using a very low-end laptop. My laptop was Intel HP EliteBook, and it was very low-end, 4 gig RAM. So I used it to finish that design. I finished that stuff in 2 months. People don't believe it, but I did it alone. I drew every single thing for that. That was the project that made me hang my boots. I stopped doing illustrations professionally. So they paid me for it. And that helped me secure my first laptop. That laptop was 700,000. I can't forget it. A fellow designer helped me get it when I was from a plug I got it from at Lagos. So I paid. But that laptop helped me greatly. Many people feel like it's a bad investment, but I knew what I was doing. I needed speed. And so I got that laptop. I didn't have much left, but I was paid some good money. And then that helped me. I started learning the skills that I needed to learn to get to the next level. So I learned Photoshop, I learned Illustrator. Few months later, if you go to my Instagram account, you see that I started sharing stuff using Illustrator. I learned like a crazy person. I was learning midnight out. I needed to get a new job because even though I've gotten this one, it couldn't sustain me that much. And that's why I said, don't lose what gives you money. Because when you lose it, you would understand that life is not easy. Nobody would give you shishi. So I learned like a crazy person until I got another job. I got a job 2022. That happened in September. I got a job with Chiva. I got my first job I got with NFT Notified in Netherlands. That was 2022, February 28th. I can't forget. And then I got a job with Chiva the following month, March, around 23rd. I got a job with them. I worked with these 2 companies for over a year. The other company was paying me a really good money, but they were not paying me like every month. They were paying me based on projects. It was more like an agency. And that has helped me get into that skill, learning about other stuff. I decided to move to the next skill. And that was January when I moved into a new skill. So sometimes the skills that we learn or we start with are not really the skills for us. Sometimes it's the skills for us, but it needs another one to amplify it. It needs another one to push you out there for other people to know the other skills that you have. So don't dwell in one skill for forever. Build on it, but I'm not saying you should leave it. Add another one, and it will help you. So, in as much as you're learning now, join communities, create that 5 case studies, and just be active. Your only challenge now is getting data. So get data as long as you have a laptop. Do something every day. You don't need to design every day, but try to do something every day. It's either you're learning or you try to even collaborate with people, build that relationship. That's what you need now because it's going to move you to the next level. I'm sorry for speaking this long and I'm sorry for wasting some people's time, but I hope this helps even other people that did not ask the question. I'm going to move to the next person. I hope that answered you. I can't remember his name. Um, was that today or the horse?
I'm here to ask my question. Not the
Okay,
one.
okay. So that will be it. Yeah. So Tunde, please
So
over
that's
to
the
you.
question.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Tunde.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'm even happy for this space, and lest I forgot, congratulations, boss, on your win. So I sent you a DM because I my laptop got faulty recently. So I've been just doing with dealing with UX, studying principles and laws like that. But yet I still pitch myself to one of my friends, like you said in one of the points you made. I told him he's in the music industry, so I told him about him having an application, and he got interested. And one thing he told me is that he said he has been looking for who will help him out with it. So I think the second day I sent you a DM, but I understand how busy you are, so I know I will still get answers to my questions. So he wants to now design the app, and this is my first time. Although I have just one live project, a coin project like that, and maybe some other few projects like that, but not really solid yet. This would be my first ever live real project if I say, okay, I want to do a project that is working, because the app will be on Play Store. It would also be on App Store, and his brand is doing very well now. So the question I asked then when I sent you a DM is what I want to ask now, and it is that what do I need to do? Like, what are the major things I need to consider? I remember I asked that, do I need the advice or the help of a product manager? So if it would be possible or not. But what are the things I need to do, being the first real project that I'm working on? So that's my question, boss.
Okay. So I think your question is not really direct. That's what I feel. But if I get it, I would say you're asking, what should you, should you work with on the project?
Yes, and maybe some other things I need to consider being a first project, and because I don't want to mess up at all. So that's it.
Okay. So one thing one thing I feel you should know is that failure is part of a win sometimes. So when you fail, it teaches you so much. But I like the fact that you don't want to fail in your first project and you want to really nail it. Um, this is what I'm going to say. This first project is very difficult because people would not want to collaborate with you on it because they need to be paid. Except you can pay them, then I'm going to recommend you work with these two people. One would be a UX designer, and the second one would be a UX writer. Now, these people would help define the product in regards to the flow or the information architecture. And then the other person is going to create the content. When I say create, the copies that you're going to use for the design. And then you can focus on doing your research about similar brands within the industry of your friend's niche.
Sorry
And
to cut you in, boss.
go ahead,
Sorry.
go ahead, go
He's
ahead.
paying, like, because he made me understand that the money he would drop is not the problem. That I should give him the quotation. So and me, that one is sounding like history to me because I have not landed any role first that would require me giving quotations and things like that. Even though I would maybe have little failures, but that should be something I can take at my own end and not affecting the success of the project. Because I already I talked to some guys that are good and can undo the job, and but yet I've not given him a direct costing.
Yeah, so that's basically what I was saying. You need two people. You need the UX designer and you need the the UX writer. And then I'm assuming you're the UI designer. So that's
Yes.
basically all you need. Yeah. So giving a costing is not just based on your own tax. You have to give costing for these different people. So you have to reach out to them, get their costing, and put it up in the invoice. The invoice is very easy to create. If you need a template, I have one on the Figma community. So if you go to my Figma profile on the Figma community, you would find a template that you can use. And then all you need is just to change the information and send to the person. So, but then you need to get what those people charge, put it up there, and ensure you kind of have some level of relationship with these people. I love working with people I know, like I've related with before, because it makes the project more relatable. We're not working more on a professional ground, we're working based on interest on that project. So that's basically all you need. Get them, get their cost, put it in the quotation, send it to him. You guys do the project. Working with them, you can ask them for their own ideas on the project. It mustn't be your own idea, and don't get angry or upset when they tell you, "Oh, this thing would not work this way. Let's do it this way." So be open, or be open-minded to getting their own responses on that project, and just understanding that people would give you better response and then better ideas when you work with more than yourself. So I don't know, but I think this should help you.
Yeah, it really did. The guys I would be working together at the guys we trained. We had our training together, and we already worked. Also, we have a project, even though not published. So I trust their judgment to an extent. Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you so much, Tunde. Kingsley, you're next. Kingsley is an expert Figma web designer, no code developer. I think he uses Framer. Kingsley, over to you.
Yes, that is very correct. I use Framer. Okay, my name is Kingsley. Yeah, nice to meet everyone here. Okay, you have actually answered my first question, so I'm just going to ride on to the next question, and that is on time management. Now, let's say you have a client's project that you're currently working on, and then you also have to. You might remember you said you are a brand and not just John Okafor. You yourself, John Okafor is kind of like a brand. So how would you like manage the client's projects and also consistently manage your own brand? How would you merge these two together and how would you make it work?
Thank you very much, Kingsley, for that, and thank you for making reference to John Okafor, because that showed that you were listening throughout the space. Um, so at the beginning of my career, I used to give unrealistic timing for projects. At the moment, I tell you, I give a minimum of 3 months to work on any project. And this is because I will be doing other stuff in between. And that's just the truth. There are other things I have to do. I have to either take up another project because I can't work for just one person for 3 months. Imagine working for just one person for 3 months, and at the end of the 3 months, the person pays me 100,000. That means I have lost a lot of money. I won't even be able to survive to the end of the project. All right. So I give a realistic time frame for the project that will enable me do a lot of things. Some of the things it will enable me do is get the right information that will help me design that project or that will help me deliver that project. The second thing is it will enable me balance my social activities because I'm not only going to make money from one source. As a man, you can't even dare make money from only one source. So I'm sorry, ladies, like tomorrow night, if I make money, I'm going to just find one very beautiful woman that has a very good skill. And women are very lucky. So I'm sorry that I'm saying this. Please, nobody should crucify me. All right. A lady can be so lucky. She can get married to the president tomorrow and her life will just change. But for guys, it's hard that a female president will want to marry you. So I hope people get the context. And please play the video till this time. I'm so sorry. I apologize to everyone. But what I'm saying is this: you need to give realistic timing to any project you're working on, putting into consideration other things you'll be doing in between. If you're going to, if you have, there are several things I do. So one, I'm working on the designs for the daily challenge that I do for about a week or so. I think almost 2 weeks. I didn't work on it because I'm trying to settle in where I'm at. I've not settled in yet. So I could not do that. So what I do is I have that. I have to create YouTube videos. I have to create reels. I have to create shorts. I have to work for my company. I have to work for freelance projects because the freelance projects, most freelance projects, I won't say most, some freelance projects pay more than some companies will ever pay you. So I have to do all of these things. And if I have to do all of these things, I have to give a rather realistic timing. Putting into consideration that this weekend I would not want to design. I want to use this weekend to create content. All right. So that would help me because if I don't do it that way, that means I will not even have my weekend. I may not even have my sleep time. So you just keep being a very slim designer. They might even nickname you the very slim designer. So you don't want to get to that point. So give realistic timing. And that's how you can basically manage your time. That's time management. And then every day, roll out what you have to do. At the moment, every day, what I have to do is get to the office. I have to be there for the time frame for work, and I have to focus on that job. So that's the time frame. So, but before now, what I'll do is I have a note that is always beside me. And on that note, I'm going to write what I have to do for that day. I used to plan for the week before, but I don't plan for the week anymore. Recently, I stopped planning for the week. I plan for the day. So what I'm going to do tomorrow, I've written it down. I'll write it down. Or I have to take a walk to XYZ. I have to find this, or I have to design for this. And when I'm saying I have to design for something, I state it out. I don't just speak without context. I have to design Google's sign up page, or I have to design Google's onboarding screens. And I know that's what I want to do. So if I'm able to achieve that for that day, I've achieved my goals. I've achieved the goals. And it's not every day I have to design for certain brands. So today I might just be doing research, or I am just looking through a movie, telling you I'm doing research. I'm just watching a movie, and then something catches my eyes and I go and note it down somewhere. So plan your time, plan your day or your month or that project with realistic time frames, putting into consideration other activities that you'll be involved in. Some of you are involved in activities in church. You're in choir, you're an instrumentalist. You have to understand, oh, I have to be I have to be in rehearsal by 5 p.m. on Wednesday and Saturday. So that is one thing that would help you. And set many alarms. Yeah, I think this would help you, and I'm going to just stop there. Yeah, that's all.
All right. Thank you very much, Davio. Can I ask one more question, or is the time like choking now?
I think I have. Okay, so go ahead.
So I'm actually a core member, and I've actually set plans and goals for myself to achieve. So I just want to just know what you think about platforms like Upwork, because I've actually set goals for myself to post consistently on design platforms like Behance, Dribble, Facebook groups, and everywhere, and even Instagram. So I just want to know what you think about Upwork. So I just want to know if I should channel my energy towards Upwork as much as I'm channeling my energy towards posting on other design platforms. So I just want to know your thoughts on Upwork. That's the next question.
I think the work on Upwork and other platforms are the same. You basically just have to update your portfolio, but most especially, you have to be online on Upwork because someone can just message you within some minutes, and if you don't respond, they move on to the next person's. So I don't know what to advise you on Upwork because I don't use Upwork. At the beginning, 2020, I used Upwork until I started getting uh, jobs from other sources. I've worked for a lot of brands. I don't want to mention the numbers. So I started getting back-to-back gigs, and I could not keep up that consistency with Upwork. So I don't know what is in vogue at the moment, but at that time, you needed to be online often to be able to land projects on Upwork. So yeah, if you ask me, if you're not doing any other thing that would take your time, like schooling, another job, then yeah, you can put the same level of activities on all platforms. And then when you post, you can go off and just focus on Upwork. Yeah, that's what I advise you there.
All right, then. Thank you very much, Davio.
You're welcome. All right. Yeah, I'm going to take. I've not actually learned to pronounce your name, so I'm going to pronounce your username. Ifechuku Ifoma. Ifechuku Ifoma, over to you.
Oh, yes, thank you so much for this opportunity,
Wait,
David.
Ifechuku, you're a female.
I am. I'm on my profile.
I have you on WhatsApp, right?
Yes, you do. I attended one of your mentorship classes.
I've always thought that you're a
So,
guy.
no, 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 no.
Please go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
So, though you have explained some of the things I had doubts about, like on other people's questions, but I just wanted to like ask this because sometimes I discovered that like a web of learning. That's something like you take up like taking up product design, and then you find yourself learning more than there is an output. So I just want to ask, like, is there a way you can get out of that web of learning and actually go into action and outputs?
Okay, so first is you can never stop learning. In fact, you should be more grateful that you're learning. The key thing is to learn and understand. So if you're getting that right at the moment, then you're in the right direction. So I'm sure obviously you're not in one particular topic for 5 months. So I'm very optimistic you're learning in the right direction. Now, getting out of just learning and doing, there's something they used to say in place of worship, the church, for instance. It's uh, don't be don't be a bench warmer, but be a doer. I think it's something like that. So don't just learn, but try to do something. Now, one thing that can help you in doing those things or implementing what you're learning is having an accountability partner. Because two people cannot have the same. You can't partner. You can't have a partner that is like you. When people fall in love, the other person wants the other person to love the person the way he or she loves themselves, and it's impossible. It's very much impossible. The other person can only learn to love you the way you are. So you have to find someone that has a different traits other than you. And when I talk about traits, I'm not saying you're a good person and the person is a bad person. No, I'm talking about the person having the traits of doing. So you must have some places you can find these people is one, on communities, two, on Twitter. I don't want to even talk about other platforms. I major on this platform. So on communities and on Twitter, you'd always see them. They share their stuff. They are unashamed about it. They would post. So those people always try to comment on their stuff. Just when you see it on community, guy, you bad. On Twitter, throw the fire everywhere, burn everything. Keep doing that until you connect with that person and partner with that person. Become an accountability partner. The person will not want to lose you because you ginger the person. See, a comment you leave on someone's post gives the person a large encouragement. Till date, when people comment on my stuff, I feel so much joy. I may not be able to reply everybody, but scrolling through and looking at the comments people are making gives me a lot of joy. I feel like, man, I'm still doing something good. That's what I feel. So that would encourage the person, and the person will want to be closer to you. So get that person that knows how to do the design part, that knows how to do the practical. And you can be helping the person self. You just say, guy, have you studied about biases? Person say, what is biases? Is it bias as state? Say, no, guy, bias. There are different types of biases. You guys should go and learn about it later. So that it helps you in your design. And with that, you've gotten the person's attention for life. And that would help you implement the practical section. The person will be like, guy, every time you are asking me about theories, they ever practice this thing? Come, let me show you. Let's have a session. Let's do this. In fact, let's work on a project. You've gotten a project. And don't leave that person. Most of you will get something. And once you've gotten that thing, you unfollow the people you've been following since that have been helping you. Some of you are guilty of those things. Or you delete the person's number. Or you will not even contact that person again. No, things don't work that way. Don't use people to climb the ladder and leave them. All right. Still keep that friendship, because the person you've discarded might have been the person to take you to the next. You feel you've gotten to the next level. There are people that would have taken you far above the level that you're at. So I hope that helps you. That's all.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much. It helps.
You're welcome. Tech Bisa. I think you're the last person. Tech Bisa, over to you.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Tech
My name is
Bisa.
Stephanie, actually, so
Sorry.
it's fine. I actually wanted to say a thing or two to what Kingsley, the second question Kingsley asked, but I don't know if it's too late because
Yeah, go ahead.
when we were talking about time management and focusing on other things when you have a project and working on multiple projects, and then you said something about managing your time, right? So I remembered an experience that I personally had. I'm a product designer, actually. So there was a point in my career where I was working on about 4 to 5 products. I wouldn't say I was a beginner then, but I would say I was really kind of like an entry level designer. Though it's that scenario actually boosted my speed in growth, but I was burnt out. Like you said, I did not have any time for my personal life. I was every single hour of the day I was either designing or doing something about design and all of that. So getting burnt out to that point was really a lot. Waking up in the morning and just working on 5 different things and planning, oh, this week I have to push this out. So it was actually a lot. And recently, in fact, in all my career, the past couple weeks have been the most calmest of all. Like, I used to want to design every day, but lately it's been, oh, let me just read the design book, or let me just scroll on Twitter. I even tweet a lot these days because I kind of have a lot more free time because I'm done with a lot of things I was working on. But I realized you don't necessarily have to do everything at once. You really have to manage your time well, because it gets to a stage where people do too many things at once and they lose the quality of work reduces, actually, and they lose their will to keep going. So sometimes taking breaks, managing time, and having a life outside tech, it's not every time that you be pressing your laptop. Go and receive fresh breeze sometimes, and just scrolling the internet and getting little inspiration for a future project that you want to work on, and all those things is really helpful as a creative when one manages their time. And that was basically what I wanted to say.
Thank you very much, Stephanie, for that. And I can relate to everything you shared. There was a time I was like a workaholic. In fact, people ask me, Davio, how are you this consistent? And I know I want to make money, but yeah, there were points in my life that I needed to be that consistent. Like it was like a do or die affair. Well, I can imagine like working on this, you have different tabs open, you have different softwares open, and you don't even have time to even speak to a loved one. The people will be complaining, you don't have time for me and all of that. I had issues with that a lot. But now I work when I want to work. I would say I work when I want to work daily though, because I have to go to the office. But at night now, I have my nights to myself. I sleep much early. I've added weight, at least some little kg. And I think I have a work-life balance now, because I'm able to plan, I'm able to even go out, hang out with people. Like before, I couldn't. I'll be there, I'm thinking about the logo design that I've not finished. Before you know, I'll be restless. I didn't really have friendship with people. I honestly didn't have that. I was always working. But now I'm trying to do that, trying to build better friendship with people. And I like that you mentioned this. It really reminded me of a lot of things. And it's something everyone can do. But wherever you find yourself, just try. Just try. Every day, do something. One day, those things you're doing today, I think the hard work are done more at the early stages of your career. So if you find yourself doing so much, uh, you're still not wrong. Or someday, I know everybody has a reason for doing so much. Maybe one family issue, you need to trash a particular bill. You know, as humans, in fact, as adults, there are a lot of bills on our head. The, as soon as you wake up, there's a bill waiting for you. So whatever you find yourself doing, just do it and do it the best, so that it can take you to that point where you would be like Stephanie, and you don't have to worry about so much. You can easily just read a book. I recently got books before leaving Nigeria, and I wanted to cultivate that habit of reading than designing all the time. Then I can't even share this. I had a lot of issues. Relationship wise, I had a lot of issues. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. I see Ross's hand is up. So Ross, over to you before we call the space to an end. It's been a journey.
Yeah,
Yeah, Ross.
thanks, Davio. I actually just wanted to come in at the end because I know you're wrapping the space up. I wanted to come in at the end and say thank you. Say thank you for putting on the space. Is this something that the Dreamers does regularly, or do you, Davio, do this regularly, or is this a once-off?
We don't do this regularly. We do it based on the need, actually.
Right.
So, but yeah, that's That's it.
Yeah.
But it's all thanks to the DreamHacks. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, the reason I ask is because, well, first of all, I've enjoyed this space. I've really enjoyed talking to you guys and hearing, all the different perspectives and stuff. And I said earlier that the thing that I have, not a pet peeve with, but basically on Twitter at the moment, there are hardly any design related spaces. I do one. I do a regular one every Saturday. I know one or two others that are floating around, but I would love to see more design spaces. And yeah, that's kind of why I was asking about whether this was something that you put regularly on. But the main thing I wanted to say at the end here was thank you. And I guess on behalf of everybody in the room, I'm sure everybody would agree with me in saying that this has been such a valuable space, and we all really appreciate all the insights and the perspectives you have given and everybody else, the speakers have given. And yeah, hope to do this again sometime. I don't know when that'll be, but yeah, thank you again so much, Davio. And it was really great to meet you. This is actually the first time I've come across you, so I'll probably slip you a DM at some point. I'd love to have you on MySpace as a speaker at some point if that's something you're interested in. If not, all good. But yeah, thought I would at least say thank you for putting this one on, mate. So thanks so much.
Thank you so much for that, Ross. And it was amazing hearing from you as well. And thank you so much also for joining the space and staying this long. It really means a lot to me personally. And yeah, I would be looking forward to your DM. And yeah, I think that should be it. I would like to say thank you to everyone for joining the space. And yeah, if you still want to share your story, you can share it in the comment section. You can quote the link to this space, and we would retweet it so that people can learn. Would like to learn about some of the rejections you've gotten. I'm sorry we didn't have much time to actually dive into that a lot because people had like questions to ask. So if you have those rejections that you'd love to share, never can tell what will happen. Just share them, and the 11th hour miracle can just come your way. All right, share them, and we'll retweet it. And I would be looking forward to even seeing it and retweeting on my own personal page. And yeah, if you have that win that you got this month, last month, I'd love to also hear. So share it as well, so that other people can be inspired. I think my job alone will inspire a lot of people because it's more like a 10th hour miracle. But yeah, there's still jobs in tech. There are a lot of jobs. I know a lot of people are scared about the AI and all of that. But one thing I want to tell you is learn about AI, know how to use ChatGPT, know how to use Midjourney, anyone. All right. I think there's Bard. There's a new AI called Bard, if I'm not mistaken. I think Elon Musk is also working on an AI called the X AI. So learn about these AIs, and they would help you. They'll help you. I use some of them in my day-to-day work, and it helps me. If I'm not able to get something, I just go there and type, and easily I get it. So it won't take your job. More companies need more talent. There are a lot of jobs, millions of jobs worldwide, but there are fewer people to work in those opportunities because most people have not stepped up their skill. So prioritize stepping up your skill. Learn the right way. Build the right portfolio. Analyze it with people that are far ahead of you. Try to reach out to them and see if they can. I'm not saying you should reach out to me because I know a lot of people will start reaching out to me now after this phase, please. But if I don't respond to you, please just know that I have a lot of TMs daily. I'm sorry in advance, but reach out to people that are more experienced than you to check out your portfolio, to check out your CV. These two things are key things in your journey. They can also share interview tips for you based on their experience. It might not work because they shared it with you and it doesn't work, does not mean they shared the wrong info. It's based on what worked at the time they got their own. So yours would definitely come to you. If it doesn't come in this 11th hour, I'm prophesying now that it would come this month. Before the month end, I'm sure someone here would testify. All right. So I love to also see that testimony and let me know. Say, David, that thing you said, I finally got a job, all right, or I got that gig that would give me Christmas rice. All right, guys, with that, I call the space to an end. It's been nice speaking here and hearing from all of you, and I hope that you guys have yourself a wonderful weekend and ensure you go to church on Sunday. Good night.